So you guys just want to get this shit started? The
Yeah,
shit
go.
show started?
That probably
Okay.
works.
Yeah,
The first
Let's get
question.
back to bed.
These are just ones that people have been sending me over like the last couple of weeks. So if you don't know how this works, this is a Discord AMA. You can PM me on Discord, and I'll ask your question live. Or apparently, if we're doing it in here, maybe we can just behave and ask questions.
Do you still have my question, Stanley, or no?
Who's asking that?
Me, Dances with
If you
Angels.
send it to him, he has
Dances with Angels? Probably not. I don't have your question.
No, he just lost
Did
it.
you PM me or what?
Yeah, remember I PM'd you like a long time ago when like.
Yeah, me
were
too. Do you
originally-
remember?
Probably not. Probably
I
not.
remember.
I don't see you
Name
on
it
the
again.
list. But...
Sandler, start asking. Go.
Come on, brother.
Okay. So the first one is from Basilisk. He said, "Would you be open to debating high school and college debaters?" He means kind of in like a semi-formal setting where like people come up and like propose like a long-form debate where they have like a question, you get prepared, and then you do some content.
I don't
like
really
debating.
like doing like. I get a lot of people that email me and they're like, "I am a debater. Do you want to debate?" And I don't really have much of an interest in that. It's usually more if there's like topics that are relevant to either current events or something that we're discussing at the time. It's generally how I do things. I don't usually like to debate for the sake of doing a debate. But maybe that would change if I'd set up some type of event or something in the future.
Okay. So the answer is kind of a maybe. So that's
Maybe
cool.
in the future.
The
Maybe says maybe.
next question is from Vivi10. She wanted to ask it on stream, but she's not here, so I'll just ask it.
That's a guy?
Do people...
Vivi's a
okay.
guy, you fucking idiot. It's a
All
fucking
right.
Final Fantasy reference.
I should have... Oh, shit.
Final
I should have
Fantasy
asked
IX,
for...
The wizard.
I should have asked for people's pronouns. We're already on a bad path. Do people obsess too much on products being GMO or not? My family always buys non-GMO, even at a higher price point. What's your opinion on GMOs?
I don't know. Everything I've seen about GMOs seems like they're fine. Big problems with things like pesticides and shit, but I'm not super well researched on the topic. But yeah, I don't give a fuck about GMO shit.
Yeah, but if you literally spray Roundup on rats to get cancer, dude, didn't you see that shit?
Roundup's not a GMO.
Roundup is a pesticide, right?
That's the meme.
Oh, I don't know. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, shit,
Christ, Stanley.
I'm sorry. I'm just asking the questions, okay? What's your position on transracialism from inferior design?
I've never in my life seen any credible scientific investigation that made transracialism seem like a real thing. Like, I know people meme about it, but I've never seen that, like, documented anywhere.
You just gonna be silent, Stanley?
Yeah, that sounds fine.
Fucking asshole.
Bali was gonna ask you this question. Is he around? Let me fucking pull his ass
Oh
in here.
god.
Wait, Bali should be around.
Bali should be around. He's always here. He has no life. Nope, he's not here. I heard ethics once characterized as the generalization of familial relations to all humanity. Has the experience of being a father made you more altruistic or oriented towards the well-being of others?
No, fuck that shit.
No, fuck that shit.
No.
Just like...
Did being a father change you at all? Did it made you like truly love something or whatever, or no? You okay?
I mean, it made me hate other parents more.
Do you have like a certain love for your child that you could never have for anything else?
Yeah, but I don't think that extends to any other person or makes me view
Sure.
other people. I think I have a worse view of people that abandon their kids. It seems pretty shitty.
I'm gay.
Who said that, Ben?
Hey, I had a question. When you worked at the casino, did they not allow you to gamble? If you're like a casino employee, you can't gamble at the establishment.
I couldn't for my first year, I think, because I was under 19. Or was
Under
it
house arrest?
21? What is it, 19 or 20? 18? Is it 18 or 21 to gamble?
18.
Yeah, okay, because I was under 19. For some reason, Nebraska and I think one other state, our age of majority is 19, not 18. I don't know why, but yeah, because I was underage. But wait, as long as you're of age, yeah, you can do it.
Yeah, I heard that age of consent debate you had on on the Ask Yourself Discord the other night.
Yeah, oh boy.
That was pretty great. Did you just get pulled into that randomly? Did somebody like PM you?
Yeah, people ping me on servers sometimes, and I'll hop in and meme about.
That's good, dude. Give you ammo to defend yourself from the Kiwi Farms people.
Thanks.
Do you think most of the people on those servers are being like legitimate, or are they like trolls? Because when we went in there was a dude from Ebola land, and then another person.
No, that wasn't Ask Yourselves Discord server. That was And it's not Ebola land.
It's Igboland or whatever.
Igboland, yeah.
And then there was another person doing like a Australian accent, but I don't know if it was real. And then they were claiming to be transgendered, but the child came in and called them like dad.
Wake up.
I mean,
that's
I
Show
don't
some
even know what he was
enthusiasm.
doing.
I'm paying good money.
I just
to
couldn't
read
tell because it was
responses.
like very. I couldn't tell if anybody was troll. I couldn't tell if it was a bunch of trolls trolling each other. At that point, I'm not sure.
Usually, the Ask Yourself crowd is super serious. I mean,
Yeah.
they're not in there to like joke around.
I don't know about the other politics channels. It's hard to say sometimes.
They're in there to like to convert carnists and chew bubble gum. Sammy Two Chains has a bunch of questions, so we'll read them out kind of one at a time. Do you think that the body positivity movement is going down a slippery slope? How do you feel about body positivity?
Oh, how do I do this? I think it's stupid for a variety of reasons, but it might be good for people that,
What up,
Okay,
cuck
so here's
boys?
something that I think I'm aware of. I think that if you shame people or bully people, I don't think it tends to produce better changes in how they approach things. People tend to just get depressed. So it's probably okay insofar as like having people be comfortable with their body, no matter what it looks like, is probably a good thing. But if that starts encouraging people to not change or to accept like really unhealthy conditions, then that's probably a bad thing. I don't know
Wait.
whether what.
I feel like if you're comfortable with your body, like at any state, so like that's really bad because people who are fat and obese and overweight, it's straight up unhealthy. There is
Okay.
no.
Yeah, let me qualify
sorry.
this more. When I say being comfortable with a trait, what I mean is like you can acknowledge a certain flaw in yourself without fucking hating yourself, right?
Got it.
Yeah,
Yep.
so you can say like, okay, well I weigh 250 pounds, and that's probably a fucking bad thing, but I don't fucking hate myself for it. Like that's an okay thing, you know? Because I don't think hating yourself or whatever tends to make people want to like change anything or whatever. But like as far as like, you know, the idea of health at every size is a pretty fucking stupid concept. So yeah. Did I answer that enough?
Do you think there's some legitimacy to at least to the claim that that maybe that the health at every size thing is kind of a meme, but the idea that you shouldn't judge people if you're not like a medical professional, right? I guess that you shouldn't just shit on people because they're fat.
Yeah,
I think it's what it boils down to.
You talk about whether you should or shouldn't do something. I mean, you're talking like moral compulsions, or just like to not be an asshole, or what do we mean?
Yeah, I suppose.
I mean, you probably shouldn't like judge people in general because that kind of makes you a dick, right? I think most people agree with that. But I mean, in terms of like making it, if you're talking judge, like making like a health judgment, I mean, you can't. I mean, like if somebody weighs 300 pounds, probably not healthy. I mean, that's a pretty fair assumption to make. But I mean, just because somebody is thin doesn't necessarily mean they're healthy. But I mean, yeah.
How would that argument the guy asked Destiny like extend to anti-vaxxer arguments?
What? It's totally different. What do you mean? What?
Never mind that.
Wait. Can you phrase that in a way that makes it related to anti-vaccinations? My brain.
Well, I guess my point was
running
he
at
said
30%.
like how. He said like how can you can we like make health claims without being doctors, right? And I feel like most people would be comfortable like having an opinion on anti-vaxxer without being a medical professional.
Oh, well, I think it's more that, like, I can look at vaccines and say they're good, like, pretty easily without I don't need to be a doctor to know that. But looking at an individual and trying to evaluate if they're healthy or not while only knowing their weight, that's a much different type of claim, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah. I was just kind of reducto ad absurdum to his argument or
Okay,
whatever.
gotcha.
Wait, what does that mean?
What?
Reducto ad absurdum?
It means to reduce something to something that's like to reduce a broad claim to something that's like pretty silly, right? To make it all the way to one extreme.
Yeah.
And see if it still holds water.
Fucking idiot. God, Mr. Mitten, your brain is
I just
the
wanted to
size
learn.
of a reptile's.
By the way,
between that and like hyperbole.
those chess memes were fucking gold-plated memes. Those were great.
Any meme where Mr. Mitten is losing a lot is a good meme.
I beat you
Hey,
2 times yesterday.
It was
How's that
6-5. The one where you played like 11 games. It was 6-5. It was super close. And you got
Oh
like
yeah,
two
I didn't
easy.
know
You got,
reducto ad absurdum. I'm so stupid. I'm sorry.
you got two easy games off of like the queen entrapment thing.
Holy shit! I just got the sickest fucking idea.
What?
I should fucking, you know, Jerry on fucking Twitch. Jerry the chess guy from the Chess Network.
Oh yeah.
Dude, I should pay like him and like another chess grandmaster
To commentate.
to commentate like a best of fucking whatever series between us. That would be so fucking funny, dude. Holy shit.
All right, so this is a question from the same guy, and he's asking, can you talk about? He's like preface. I'm not American, so I don't get this. Can you talk about prescription drug ads and why you think they're bad?
I don't know if I think they're bad. Why would I think they're bad?
I think
I think we're like the only country that allows people to advertise. I mean, I think they're probably bad. I don't know if you should be picking fucking medicine based on which commercial you saw on TV.
I don't think that you do though, because
Ask
if it's
your
prescription,
doctor.
it's through your
Oh,
doctor, and then your
yeah.
doctor. Like,
Well, but there's a lot of bad shit I think that goes on with the doctors where like they feel
they'll see the ad.
No. Doctors get really pressured into prescribing certain types of medications due to like what insurance pays for and whatnot, and then patients will oftentimes request certain medications based on what they've seen in ads and shit. There's so many really good I've read so many good, like, really long, detailed explanations by doctors about how, like, fucky it is being a doctor right now with the way that insurance companies dictate medicines that you can prescribe and whatnot, that it's, like, a really cucky experience.
one of the biggest things recently, right, is the opiate deal, right?
Well,
What do you mean by that? Just like getting hooked on prescription drugs and then moving to heroin?
Yeah, so the idea that they can both advertise like in doctors' offices directly to patients about like pain management. They can do it like on television, and then there's the aspect where like they're literally like buying off doctors and stuff, right? That doesn't really have to do with advertising.
Hey,
Alabama
It's
had
just-
Alabama had 1.41 opioid prescriptions per capita in like 2013.
Prescriptions per capita, is that like on a yearly
Yeah.
basis?
1.41.
No, that's like per
Wait,
person.
what the fuck does that mean? Like
Per
more?
person.
Absurd.
Yeah.
Wait,
Wait,
what does that
I
I don't
mean?
know how
one
accurate that
So
is,
every
though.
single person plus times 40 plus 140% got
Is it out
prescribed.
of 1,000 or 100 or?
Each individual can have multiple pain management prescriptions.
So you're saying
prescribed per
in
month.
Alabama, there is
More-
everybody in Alabama is on a prescription medication,
Well,
and then
that's what
some
I'm
of
saying
them
that.
add another.
That's why I asked if it's on
Same
like a
number of
yearly basis or what.
prescriptions.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that based on the number of people, there were 1.41 times that many prescriptions filled in like a year,
Yeah, I don't know the extent of that question.
which is
unfortunately.
pretty common for like areas where there's like pill mills, right? And like East Texas, which is close to me, used to be a huge pill mill country, right? So there'd basically be like pharmacies where
Okay,
almost
Alabama
all they sell
ranks
is
first
opiates.
in the nation for the number of painkiller prescriptions per capita, according to Attorney General Steve Marshall, who has sued opioid manufacturers and co-chaired the state's Opioid Overdose and Addiction Council. In the Alabama's first congressional district, which includes Mobile, there were about 131 prescriptions per 100 people during 2016.
I'm gonna go grab a cup of coffee real quick.
There we are. That's crazy.
It's actually fucking insane.
Yeah.
BRB, moving to Alabama and asking my doctor.
Damn. Please give me Fortune 3.
Stanley's AFK right now.
I think you went to the bathroom or something.
He went
I
to
have
get
like 2
coffee.
questions I could ask from people who messaged me.
Can I just ask my question, Mutin, or should I just?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so Destiny, how do you argue? Hold on, let me. How do you argue with someone who's speaking from a position of ignorance, but is absolutely confident in their position? Just speaking to your experience, obviously.
I don't fucking know. What do you mean? How? I don't know.
Like I see in your arguments, like you go about the way, like you try to get like to the meat of it. You try to get to the truth. Like you're not really interested in convincing people that they are necessarily wrong. But you're trying to, but as you said before, you're trying to attain like a higher truth in these arguments. But like, how would you go about convincing the other party that they were wrong, though?
I mean, you have to do it through narratives, right? So like you basically weave together a story that kind of like brings together your points in a way that's hopefully convincing.
There's actually a question about this, like later on. But we can just go like the question's basically right. Do you believe in like narrative form explanations? What do you think actually convinces people? Like narrative form explanations or raw data and like argumentation?
Not raw data. Yeah, probably
Yeah.
narrative
Don't
explanations.
you remember when you like made up that story just to get to somebody, and like then they immediately agreed when before they were adamant that
Do you
like,
think
you were wrong?
do you think most people are like that lady, right? That you like lied
Yeah,
to?
that's what I'm talking about.
Or do you think most of them are fairly
Most
logical?
people are like the lady, right?
I would think so.
Well, no, I think they are. Isn't that like empirically demonstrated? I thought maybe I should go look that up.
Doc, you want to sneak your question in real quick? Or Doc K?
My question?
Yeah, your question, dude.
Oh yeah, dude. I just want to hear your excuse for having 600 points in Guildfest, dude.
Get this guy out of here, dude.
Yeah, you're
So that's no excuse then?
Get him out of here.
Fucking shitty.
Can't give him the
fucking
kill.
asshole. God damn it, dude. You guys, fuck. You're like, dude. Can I ask a question directly to
All right, I
Steven?
got two
I'm
good
like,
ones.
throw it up.
From somebody.
All right.
Do you think advanced placement or AP classes are more beneficial to ordinary students than regular classes, or do any of them matter?
When you get to college, however many AP classes you took, you're gonna wish you took more, because holy fuck, that thing is so good.
They're so expensive in college. It's so fucking dumb.
It's like $70 or $80 for a fucking test, a test out of a whole goddamn shit ass fucking subject. That's amazing.
It's a great segue. Is college education still worth it in the United States as a non-American?
You have to.
Do you think so?
Worth it. I mean, by
Wooten
definition,
says you have to.
look at the earnings. Look at the average earnings of a college graduate versus a non-graduate. It's like 15 grand, or at least, isn't it? Maybe more.
And as like an addendum, they were asking, like, do you think that there's a way to fix student loan debt, quote unquote?
Micro, doesn't really this go back to like what you were saying like a few days ago, or basically like when you say that like you have a GED, everyone like subconsciously realizes that doesn't really mean shit, that you actually just need a college education to prove that you have like some worth when looking for a job.
I mean, some people think that. I mean, I can only go by raw data, like college degree earnings versus no degree. I'm pretty sure there's like a $20,000 difference or some shit between people with high school versus a college degree. Average salary.
Yeah, it's a big difference.
The average salary with a high school diploma is $35,256. The average salary with a bachelor's degree is almost $60,000. So I'm sorry, there's a $25,000 difference.
I mean, it really depends on what you go into. There's still like some crafts where like a GED is fine, right? Like there's lots of oilfield people that I interact with that basically have a GED or like worse, and they make six figures, but their life is like hellish, right?
Sure.
You don't want to live in that
minority.
Yeah.
You can still find things that like make a lot of money, but it's pretty tough.
Yeah, you could also quit school and be a video game streamer, but I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just speaking on average.
I'll
You're
get
probably
right
pretty.
on.
Not.
Probably
Are you still kind of the opinion that like anybody can do it, but it's just not going to work for everybody?
No.
It's harder to say like anybody can be a streamer because it's competitive. So like obviously not any, because there's not enough viewers to go around for every single person, right?
Yeah, right. You
Yeah.
can't have like a million streamers.
That's right,
Millions of
brother.
streamers.
Well, not everybody's interesting or like outgoing too. You have to have.
Well, you
kind of
could
those
learn
qualities.
it, yeah, but that's a lot of.
I think it's learnable, but yeah, it's hard.
You would have to like specifically invest a lot of time into it, like yeah, bro.
Like me.
Yeah, bro.
Like
You're
Destiny.
never gonna be like this.
Chit Chat has a real quick question.
Yeah,
Are
bro.
you going to be playing the new season of League? Are you going to give it another
Nope.
try, or are you
Nah,
pretty much done?
Bro, I'm good with
Nah,
that shit,
bro.
bro.
Nah,
Can you
bro.
wake up?
Nah, bro.
Wake up. Have a Red Bull.
I'm awake.
I'm actually here, by the way.
Oh,
Yeah,
well,
he's
Since
here.
new season will give,
Let me
the
answer.
new seasons will bring new changes regarding the role system.
Why would you want him to play that shit game? Can I
Yeah,
ask you a
Because
question?
I'm not sure if I unironically or ironically love watching League, but it's enjoyable for me. And I don't like
Not
StarCraft
sure.
because I don't know how the game works. So watching that is just like, okay, what the fuck?
Watch him and
Small
learn,
brain.
dude.
Small
I
brain
don't
League
want
players,
to.
dude.
Fuck, I don't want to learn another fucking game. No, give me League. League content.
All right, I banned that.
No,
No.
you're out. No supporting League statements at all. Okay, that's bannable now.
I'll
Ask
probably
Wooten.
continue to play with like friends. So like if Lily and Deanna and shit want to play, I'll play. But otherwise, I don't think I'm. Listen, I've done too much damage to my own personal health and my streaming career playing that shit ass.
Hey, man.
To your psyche.
Shut the fuck up, Mr. Moon. You're still dying to fucking World of Warcraft, just ruining your life.
I'm not
okay?
playing that game anymore.
Oh.
Clean and sorry.
Yeah, I quit too, buddy.
Did you have like an intervention with your family movement or what?
Well, the
No,
intervention
my-
was fucking retards quitting the guild.
Me having to, like,
whoa.
Yeah,
I mean,
I like
idiot, sorry.
I had like an officer chain, and then one of them got a girlfriend, and then the chain kind of fell. Somebody didn't want to raid lead. I didn't really want to show up on Thursdays. I only want to do 2 days a week. And then like one of the officers quit, and I was like, yeah,
Well,
fuck it.
3
I'm done.
months.
Save it for the Mr. Mutant AMA, okay? I'll ask you all about why you wow.
All right, when you want to add everyone, I'll remember that one.
It's not as bad. It's not as bad as it was. We'll talk about Discord later if you guys want.
No, I don't
There's a
want to talk
couple.
about that.
Well, I didn't. Well, maybe I'm not talking to you, Mr. Mutant.
Ooh, number
Say-
2.
Hey, okay. Sammy Two Chains asks. He's got another one. He says, "How do you feel about tablets versus books in schools? And what would you do if Nathan's school implemented like tablets, like tablet use?"
Nathan's school already uses like iPads.
They already use them?
Yeah.
You like it?
Yeah, I mean, he can like they do little things in class. They've got an app called Seesaw where they can like you get like little throughout the day you get kind of like little videos and shit of what they're working on. I think it's kind of cute.
Do you think that it teaches like device dependency?
Device dependency. I mean, we live in a device dependent world. I mean, shouldn't you learn that shit pretty early?
I mean, I guess. I don't. I guess the argument is like if they didn't have that, they'd be worse off. But what's the realistic? What's the realistic like hypothetical where they don't have it anymore?
Ooh. I mean, like in an apocalyptic scenario or some shit.
Yeah, but we're all fucked anyway. Okay.
You might be fucked. I'm trained, dude. I got my underground.
Are they pretty much doing the tablet? I mean, if you're going to like a generic
Yes, and
public
universities
school,
too.
Yeah.
like the tablet shit's just everywhere now. We had like laptops in college, but fuck, we never had tablets.
We are giving out tablets to university kids at our college now.
Do you know if the companies mostly pay for those, or does the school pay like full?
It's the school,
retail
and then
price
you get
for
like a
those?
discount, I believe. Yeah.
And it makes kids not have to have wheelie backpacks, which is really good.
We had
Who
those
the
in
fuck has
debate, dude.
wheelie backpacks?
Debaters did, dude.
Fucking
If I
nerds.
saw someone with a wheelie backpack, I would
Kick 'em.
kick that person's ass.
Yikes, dude.
Just on principle, dude. You're a
That's-
prime bully target.
That's kink shaming.
That's like having a kick me on your back, but like with a backpack.
It's like
Never
dragging
would backpack
around
to kick.
an audio cue to get kicked because they can hear the wheels. I could smell
it's
that
like wearing a
nerd
fucking
a mile
shirt.
away. Yeah. Oh man,
You
dude.
hear it in the classroom, you go grab a hall pass, you kick his ass. Shut up, Stanley. Go ahead.
Oh, don't even meme on me, Mooten. All right, Rusby has another question. Why is anti-SJW so harmful and cancerous? He wants a succinct thing that he can clip and post on Twitter to shit on anti-SJW. Okay, he wants you to be the voice of reason. Think about it long and hard, and then make a
I'm
clip.
too
with
lazy.
it.
Anti-SJWs are cancerous as fuck because they tend to focus on niche issues that are nowhere near as big as they make them out to be, while ignoring massive issues that are much larger than they make them out to be. For example, pretending like anybody around the world gives a fuck about what the fuck some dumb fucking college kids say with blue hair on some college campus, as opposed to, say, like the president threatening to do things like sue the fucking press. That's the problem with SJWs, is that their privilege shows so much based on the issues they choose to value, because things like Black Lives Matter are an inconvenience, and things like kids crying on Tumblr are literally like the largest threat to their existence. That's why anti-SJWs are cancerous.
So is it just a question of like those things in context are actually quite small? Now that they don't
and
exist.
not that big of a fucking deal compared to other things. Yeah. But when the
It seems
entire
hilarious that
perspective
they-
you have on the world is literally like, I spend all my day on the internet and I don't have real problems because mom and dad take care of most of my shit for me. So this is what I'm gonna choose to be selectively outraged against. Like, yeah.
And Western culture is being destroyed, and like France is on fire and shit. Yeah.
Hey,
All right.
Actually,
Pretty
I got
that could make a decent clip. Dude.
Wait, what? There's a guy.
I got a follow-up question on that. Do you think that like anti-SJW?
Permello, are
Wait,
you in here?
What the fuck?
Yeah, I'm
Wait,
here.
can you not hear that guy? Do you have him
He's
muted?
asking a question.
What?
Hello?
That's
Go.
fucked up.
Oh, they weren't fucking server muted? Who's okay?
Wait,
who
can
is
you
it?
not hear the guy talking?
No.
Why are you muting people?
You can't hear dances
You
with
can't be
angels?
meeting people, dude. Come
Can you
on.
hear me?
Oh,
You kept interjecting.
Stanley, I'm sorry.
Dances, go ahead.
That's
There
a
you go.
fucking ban. We're not allowed to server mute, or you're not allowed to mute people. Oof. Okay, wait.
Wait, what?
Go ahead. Let
That's
the
the
guy.
whole point.
Wait,
Oh,
Micro, you actually server muted me? No.
What?
Okay, ask your question. Go.
Okay,
Sure.
well, I got a follow-up question to like the point
Yeah.
before. Do you think there's any value that you can find like from anti-SJW content, like the skeptic community, on YouTube, like any value at all, like at least to understand their arguments at the very least, like.
Yeah, I think the value is probably if you spend some deal of time investigating how to put together like rational arguments. The Skeptics channel could be a really good training ground for figuring out if you've understood how to do it or not. So like here's like a thing I do. Like so like let's say I had like a high school class and we were trying to teach like how to put together good arguments and understand data. In order to test yourself to see if you really get it, I would recommend watching any random skeptic video that's over 15 minutes long and see if you can point out 5 different examples of when they use like a source or something incorrectly or didn't read it, because every single fucking video that skeptics post is going to be full of dumb fucking shit like that. That would be it. There's some value right there. Unironically, no. The problem is that most of the skeptic people don't have the level of expertise necessary to even talk about the arguments that they're trying to make. So like, and there's like a million different examples of dumb shit related to this. What's up? Hold on.
Would you like say it like even like the educated ones, like say
Okay.
JF?
He's talking to Nathan.
Qualified, but they're like,
Cool. Okay. Even the educated ones like JF. I don't know. Like I've dealt with JF seems to be like a dishonest actor so many times, and there are so many specific times where he defends somebody that's beyond fucking stupid. I question the intellectual honesty like of JF himself. Fuck. What was it? There was some. Was it that one Indian chick I was arguing with that came on and talked about like the forced relocation of blacks? And when I said something about how she was essentially like leading to genocide, he was like, "Oh no, she's not advocating for violence at all or whatever," even though she pretty explicitly was saying that the state would have to remove people that she didn't like. Oh yeah, Tara McCarthy. So like, I don't know. I don't trust people like JF. The problem, this is the reason why I hate skeptics and why I would want most of them like deplatformed from whatever platforms they're on. I don't think they provide you a good means to understand the issues from another side, because oftentimes they just don't know how to make the arguments that they're trying to make. Like I could argue pretty much every issue that a skeptic argues in a better way than a skeptic, because oftentimes when they argue it, they don't understand either side of what they're talking about. So like, for example, Sargon making a post complaining about feminists because the real problems in society have to do with toxic masculinity and how men aren't allowed to express emotion, without realizing that feminism literally addresses that point exactly, right? There's like so many examples of skeptics trying to make arguments that they just don't have the sufficient background to make. And when I say sufficient background, I mean they haven't spent like more than 2 minutes reading about whatever the fuck even if they were to go through like Wikipedia articles, that's all I do. They would be like 9 million times more informed than fucking whatever dumb shit they do. Ugh. Sorry, okay.
So like their whole thing is just generally harmful to like anyone.
Yeah, they don't represent even the points of view they claim to represent. They don't do it well because they just don't have any fucking idea what they're talking about 90% of the time. Yeah.
Really quick, Stanlash, did you get my questions?
I don't think he's here. Either that or he muted himself on accident.
Damn.
I have a quick question, if I can
Go real quick, whilst
yeah. So it's sort of about consent to people in positions of power, and sort of from like Me Too. Like, what's your view on like, can anyone in a position of power, like have sexual relations with anyone below them, or is it always sort of like iffy, like sexual assault?
It might be possible to do that, but god damn, I would like give a blanket answer of no, with exceptions for very, very, very rare circumstances. It would really depend. Like for instance, like a boss in like another department or some shit maybe, but like in general, I would say it's really, really hard to approach these kinds of relationships in a responsible way. Yeah.
All right.
I know Stanley was calling on me next, so I can just go.
Go for it.
That's all right. So when you were going through your whole beef with like the animators and stuff, you did a little video where you sort of analyzed their YouTube channels individually and was like, here's how you can improve, your revenue and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And in the same vein, do you think there's any like behavior or mistakes that you see people making with online marketing or content creation that you would be confident in like giving advice to somebody new in those fields to like not do? Or like another way of saying is like, is there any advice that you think you would have liked to have had before starting like online marketing and stuff?
I don't know anything about online marketing in particular, but if you're just talking about like influencers in general,
Yeah, that sort of stuff.
yeah, I mean, like if you want to do stuff online and you want to make money from it, like at the end of the day, you're only going to get paid what you're going after. Like self-employment is brutal. Nobody gives you a paycheck at the end of the day for showing up. Like you have to go after all the dollars you want to earn. So, I mean, I mean, fuck, there's like 50 million different things you could address here, but I guess more specifically, when you looked at like the psychic pebbles of like the world, like some people feel bad trying to make money doing what they enjoy because they feel like they're selling out or they're not like remaining loyal or true to some crazy whatever fucking values. If you want to believe that, that's fine, but at the end of the day, you're only fucking yourself, and oftentimes like selling out a little bit can help you do things that are better for you
This
anyway.
is your paycheck for showing up, buddy.
Right.
Because it
Thanks.
can give you, it can give you more opportunities to do what you love anyway, right? Hey, thanks for the
Yeah.
bits, buddy. Yeah. Okay, yeah.
All right. Any update on the Twitter ban, real quick, from Kaisen?
No, maybe on Monday we'll learn some more Mimi shit, but
Okay.
I don't know if
Are you actually? iClash asked, are you actually moving to LA, or are you just baiting us?
There's a high chance, like 85% plus, that come January, yeah, I will. I mean, something
Interesting.
huge could happen and I won't, but I mean, I probably will.
Hey, so I actually had a question. Can you like, what are the advantages of living in a streaming house? And would you do it as like you're basically kind of older maybe than most of the people that are going to be in the streaming house? Would you do it, or do you value your privacy too much?
I mean, living in a streaming house just gives you easy access to other content creators, so you can do collaborations and whatnot a lot better. And then living with people that share your struggles and experiences is probably good emotionally.
Do you think that like the fact that you're just provided for, right? You don't have to worry about like food and shit. Is that a big upside of it?
Yeah, for some people it can be, sure.
And then does the cross platforming matter that much? Like the fact that Lily and I guess the other people in the offline GG house, does that give them like a big leg up?
Yeah,
Or is
I
it
mean,
just like
collaborating with other people can be a really good thing that are literally living in your house. I don't know how often offline TV does it anymore, but yeah, it can definitely be a big thing.
Do you know whether Lily's, whether those people's audiences are like mostly shared? Do they like cut into each other's streams a lot, or
They
like
do
do they
a little bit,
mostly have
but it's not going to be a lot. Like Scara's audience isn't going to watch Lily a ton, or like Lily's audience isn't going to be watching like Scara playing League or whatever. And then Poke's got her own thing going on. But I mean, I'm sure there's a little bit of crossover, especially the more they interact with each other.
Okay. Belf asks, he has a complaint. Can you start multi-streaming so I can watch on YouTube and pause the stream while I take a shit?
No.
Like, you're actually unable to multi-stream, right?
I can, but not gaming content. So I guess
Not
for some
gaming
political
content.
stuff I could, but yeah.
So like for this, you could do YouTube as well, but you'd have to set it up.
Well, yeah, and I'd have to hide Minecraft from my screen, yeah.
Okay.
Don't ever do that.
Stackzilla was going to ask, do you think platforming Lords Mobile is irresponsible in a way? It could be a big waste of time and money for people who can't afford it.
Maybe, I don't know. I'll think about that more in the future. I'm not sure how I feel about mobile games.
That's just like a thing of like the individual users, right? Like they should be responsible in their own right.
Yeah,
So
but
if
like,
you have money to play a game.
like I don't like gambling at all. I would never do a gambling sponsorship. I don't think it's good. So like, but maybe mobile games are pretty comparable, so maybe I shouldn't do those either. I'm not sure. I'd have to think about it.
Okay. Let me get through these questions and then we can kind of open it up to like an open question thing. Mibs asks, what's your opinion on the U.S. involvement in the Civil War? Right, because right now it seems like we're in like an indefinite occupation, pretty much.
Of what?
Like a small-scale occupation.
Of what?
The Syrian Civil War.
Oh, Syria? Do we?
I mean, we have boots on the ground in like the opposition.
I thought it was just like special
controlled
forces
areas.
and shit. We don't have like army and shit there, right?
Yeah, and he presented like maybe 3 outcomes, right? Like an immediate exit, like a stronger military intervention, or just like keep arming like opposition groups and supporting them kind of on
I
the
was
side.
under the impression that shit was like winding down. I don't know. We should probably just get the fuck out of that shit.
Immediate exit. Destiny's pulling the fuck out.
Yeah.
Hi Guy asks, if Nathan was being bullied in school, would you advise him to fight back?
Yeah, I'd kick that bully's ass, dude.
Hell yeah, I'd
You
come
you
down
do
there
it
too.
yourself?
Yep.
Fuck yeah, it would.
You'd get Mr. Mutin to beat like a fucking 7-year-old's
He's
ass.
about their fucking size, so it'd be a good fight, wouldn't it, Steve?
Jesus
It'll
Christ.
end up looking like that scene from Step Brothers if y'all two go down there.
Yeah, that's right.
Nice super chat, me and Mutin, dude. Senior Juice has a question about agency, and I think he's in here. It's kind of a long one. What's up, dude?
Right, so you really don't believe in individual agency, do you?
Not at all, no.
Right, so yeah, you've mentioned that a lot. And then, but I've also heard you say recently that in whatever reality you'd be presented with, that you believe you're sort of savvy enough to like succeed in any reality. And I feel like those kind of positions can't coexist.
Why not?
Well, if you're just a product of your environment, then you're not going to be the same individual in every reality. Maybe I'm misunderstanding what you mean by
how did
any
you
reality.
interpret that? When I was talking about any reality, I meant the realities that I visit when I'm on fucking shrooms. Not like if I was born as like a one-armed, one-eyed like black person in the Civil War or some shit.
Okay, so it's just a sort of semantic misunderstanding.
Yeah, so.
That's cool.
Okay.
Good job.
We're gonna skip this person because they're not here. What do you think about the age of consent in certain states being low?
Wait, hold on 1 second. What?
Yeah.
Wait, I can ask this question better.
Yeah.
No.
You can, yeah. You wait.
Not
It's your
yet. Maybe
question.
maybe later though. Hold on, I'm answering questions right now, Nate.
You can take a break if you want.
I don't know, Nathan. I'm so tired right now. Monday when you come back, we can look into stuff like that. Okay. All right. I'm sorry. What?
Mutin.
Okay, I'm gonna ask this question. So you've seen the Dave Chappelle vid about how old is 15 really, right?
Yes.
Steven?
Oh yeah, boy.
Okay, how old like do you think is actually like the age that consent should be at, and like
For
do you think that
sexual
it's the same for?
activity?
Do you think that's the same for every person, or do you think it should go on like a mental basis for sexual activity? Sure.
Oh fuck, dude. I don't fucking know. I have no idea. The thing is that like 18 is like a hilarious age for me because I don't know how much difference there is between like a fucking 18-year-old and a 16-year-old. But I also don't even know if like a fucking 20-year-old or 21-year-old is that mature. So like I don't know. It all seems weird to me. They're all children to me. So
yeah,
I'm not sure. I don't know. It's really hard. Like the idea that like an 18-year-old is able to understand the ramifications of like having a kid is fucking stupid.
Yeah, but they're not allowed to like go have a beer. Like, yeah, I understand that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we were talking specifically sexually. I mean,
no, we were. I was.
Yeah. They're not allowed to have a beer, right? You're gonna be 21.
Yeah, they're not.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like the weird thing is like you can go have sex and have a kid, but you can't like drink a beer.
Yeah.
And yeah, stuff like that.
Isn't that a little bit similar to like how much sand makes a pile?
Wait, what?
Sure.
Adding seconds to their life until like at what point?
You're kind of talking about a continuum fallacy kind of thing.
Yeah.
This is best illustrated with Loki's wager, where Loki wagers some bullshit and loses, like he risks his head or something, and then when the goblins come to like chop his head off, he's like, okay, like you can chop my head off, but you can't chop my neck off at all. And they sit there and they argue forever for where the neck starts and ends on the back of his body, and it's impossible to determine it, so he walks free or some shit. Yeah, so the idea of like, when are you truly an adult? Like, is it 18? Is it 19? Is it 20? Is it like, I don't know how it's really hard to determine.
Keep up the good work, guys.
Wow.
Stanlash gone. Can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
I don't know if you've ever talked about this before because I haven't, gone through every single thought ever. But I was just wondering if you've ever hit like a really low.
Yeah, probably like a month ago after my shroom shit when I started having panic attacks. Holy fuck.
Wait, that was lower than your carpet cleaning days where you're like about to fucking kill yourself?
Oh, I thought he meant like while I've been streaming.
Yeah, no, I just meant like your entire life.
Oh yeah, then it was fucking carpet cleaning easily. What the fuck?
How far, like, were you actually, like, do you think you actually would have done it if your life wouldn't have like like change drastically?
No, I don't think I'm ever the type of person to kill myself. So I probably wouldn't have, but like my life was pretty completely fucked. I was falling behind on all of my bills. I had failed school and I had student loan debt, and the job that I'd failed school for I'd been fired from, so I couldn't use it as a reference for getting more work, and I'd taken a massive downgrade in pay and work quality to go from working at the casino and being a supervisor to being a carpet cleaner duty. Plus that job
like
was fucking miserable. Yeah. Plus I had a kid on the way, so like yeah, I was like fucked in pretty much every conceivable way. And then I don't have like much family or whatever for helping out. I think I would rather be homeless than go live with my parents, so fuck.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, no problem, bud.
All right, Rias asks, would you like to live in another country where you currently are? If you had to live in another country, where would you move to? I think you've been asked this before.
I don't know where I would move to. Probably like Canada. They're just right up there, right? So it's not too far away.
Oh, it's like
I would have to
like US 2.0.
Yeah, I'd have to do like some serious research. I really hate a lot of this shit in America, but I have a feeling that if I were to start researching other countries a lot, I'd probably find that everybody has their share of like fucking morons.
Okay, Redoran asks, at some point you said you really respect Pokimane. Can you elaborate on this? What decisions about her make her stand out to you?
She's just fucking ruthless, a ruthless businesswoman. She will crush everyone that gets in her way. I respect that. I like that.
You really don't see that much on stream, though.
No, you don't. She's very intelligent. She manages her shit very well, and she is very fucking ruthless in how she approaches everything.
What does she do behind the scenes that's so crazy?
He probably won't say.
No,
okay.
I'm not getting into that.
It's all no, it's all
But
good.
She is just very driven to like further her own brand and her own business and everything, and she does it very effectively.
Okay. Chad Cell wanted to ask for you to talk about carpet cleaning more, and I guess why it sucked, which you kind of covered. Just kind of like a dead end job, just like nothing going on, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, it was like the general problems and plights of being hopelessly poor. So your problems there are you're typically stuck in a shitty job that you don't enjoy, that doesn't pay very much, that doesn't provide enough financial security for your life, but that you also have no future. Like you don't have the opportunity to go back to school, your job doesn't provide opportunities for career advancement, and you don't really see yourself ever getting out of your current predicament. So those two things, this is like the plight of being poor, in my opinion, is the fact that your life is fucked and you see no way out of it ever. So that's the first part. And then the carpet cleaning specifically, I mean, maybe you can do some good carpet cleaning. Like if you own your own truck and sell your own jobs, it's probably not as bad. But I was just working a lot of hours for very, very little pay. Like I was doing like fucking I don't even know, 90 plus hours a week, probably pretty easily, because it was like not of like straight work, but of like being out of the house. Like it was
How much were you getting an hour?
Averaged out, it was like fucking $2 or $3 an
Why
hour.
don't poor people just make more money? They
Were you
want
saying
to
you
poor
got?
then.
Did you say one time that you were like working on tips as well or some shit?
No, not carpet cleaning, but it was like a commission. But like to explain how fucked the job was, basically the way that it would work is like I need to be at the shop. It was either 6 or 7 a.m. I don't remember, but I would have to be at the shop at like 6 or 7 a.m. To get my truck ready. So once I get there, I might have like a minimum service job at say 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock. So I'm at the shop, my truck is ready. At 8 or 9 o'clock, I'll go to do my job. It's just a 1 hour job. It's a quick cleaning job. I'll only get paid $16 for that because that was my commission, was $16 for every $100 sold. A minimum service job is $95. So I might not have my next job until like 12 to 1, and that's another $16 job. So I'll work from 9 to 10, then I'll work from 12 to 1. I've made $32, and I've been there from 6 to 1 o'clock, or 7 to 1 o'clock, so that's 5 or 6 hours of work, and then I've made maybe $30 so far. Then maybe I'll have like one job from like 4 to 7, or maybe a job from like 5 to 8 or something. Maybe that one will pay me like $45.
Is this the Destiny Pits party?
But
Here, have a loaded
yeah,
handgun.
that's like 12
you
hours
pussy.
of work, and I've made like $60, shit like that. There's just a lot of days like that where your jobs are just not that good, and yeah, it's really fucking garbage.
Were you
Never mind.
I was gonna say, like, were you like putting a lot of like your bills and shit on credit cards at that point, so like the credit card debt's like rolling up too.
No,
that one
I've
seems
never
the
been
craziest
I was
one.
just falling behind on bills. I figured they were gonna foreclose on my house eventually, but I would never go into credit card debt. That's just dumb. If you're gonna, I figure if I was gonna lose my house, I'm gonna lose it anyway. Putting it on credit cards is just gonna stall it off or whatever.
That's what my parents did for a long time, and my parents like made really good money. They're just really bad with their money, kind of like yours.
Yeah.
And they just put shit on credit cards. They fall behind on credit cards, then they're paying an extra like 26% or something. Yeah.
Did you find it was like difficult going from like the casino job where you're making decent money, and then like obviously you're budgeting and like expenses, you know, as far as basically like budgeting for the new reality of your income, like before you already incurred
Not
a bunch
really.
of that debt?
Budgeting's never been a big deal for me, because I don't really buy anything. Like obviously, if you see me before, I don't really have clothes or anything. I just buy like computer shit. So budgeting or like adapting to a new lifestyle wasn't that hard because my lifestyle doesn't change that much based on the amount of money I make. Like the only thing I really do now is travel a little more, and my car is nicer than it would have been. But otherwise, I mean, I don't really spend much money on anything.
Because that's like one of the really damaging things for people, right? Is like where they continue spending like how they were previously making money when like, they're making less.
Oh wait,
It's
didn't your parents do
super
that?
fucked.
Yeah, my parents do that shit. Yeah.
Did you ever tell the story about like because we talked about it in person. Stanley, your mic's open. We talked about it in person how you used to like live in a pretty nice house with like a pool and stuff. Did you ever like tell the story about like what you guys like used to have to do, like when your parents lost their daycare shit?
Oh, because they were incapable of scaling their income.
Yeah.
I think I've mentioned it a few times. So.
Did they try to scale to like another location or something?
They
wanted to make,
always
like, a
have to
chain?
buy the maximally biggest thing they can qualify for at any point in their lives. It's just really, really, really bad with money.
And just living on like note to note.
Pretty much all the time.
Oh, Pierce Lowe was gonna ask about the carpet cleaning thing. How'd you get into that? Did you apply for that, or did someone like get you that job, or?
It was really hard to find work after I got fired from the casino. One, because I couldn't really use the casino as a reference since I got fired, and then two, it was just hard to find work. Because I would have gotten fired from the casino in like 2008 or 2009? No, 2008, I think. And so even like getting like server jobs and shit was just really fucking hard to find work, any kind of work. So I don't know. Yeah, my uncle recommended. He had a friend that worked at the carpet cleaning place, so he recommended that, and I went. So yeah.
While we're talking about it, can you give like a quick summary as to why you were fired? I don't know the story.
It's kind of a long story, but basically the gist of it is that I didn't understand office politics at all, and I ended up getting on the bad side of my manager because I just didn't understand. I was too naive for everything, and I always figured that like I was really, really good at my job, so I figured that I would be protected by that if I did my job really well, that nothing bad could happen to me because I was a really good performer. But I didn't understand the office politics shit at all, and I got fucked. Yeah, that's the short version, I guess.
I have a question. So since pretty much the end of September, something has changed in your viewership growth, and you've gone from being like around 3K a day, and you're very consistently growing right now. So one, what is that? And two, do you think it's going to continue? Because it seems like you're at pretty much like an all-time high right now, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, I think the two big things are, one, I'm collaborating with other people a great deal more, and then two, I think people can turn my stream on and know that they're not going to ever see League of Legends. So those two things probably
That's
help
a
lot.
huge. I was gonna say that. Yeah, that's a huge thing.
Yeah.
Papa bless.
So do you think that this is going to continue growing up? Do you think there's a cap? Like, are we going to see Destiny at 10K?
I don't know if I have the type of personality that would appeal to enough people at 10K just because of the things that I choose to do, because I'm pretty edgy. I'm not sure. Yeah, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see once Call of Duty Black Ops 4 comes out. Oof.
I'd say when I'm on stream, he has an extra 2,000 viewers.
Nice, man. That's why I pay you $1,000 a month
Holy
just
fuck,
for
they
being
do that. If you work as a tech for a major company, you can work from like 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. and only make about $40 that day.
Yeah, I agree.
Hold on, Dan.
Self-employed,
Let me get through some more
Nathan
questions.
I tallied up all the hours that I worked at the carpet cleaning place, and I came out to like after like, because I would work, I would usually work 13-day stints, so I would work 7 days, or I would work 6 days a week with every other Sunday off. So I'd work 13 days in a row, and I went to my boss one day and I was like, dude, like I added up all my jobs and I'm getting paid like $3 an hour. And then he went back to work. He's like, well, actually, you're getting paid like about $14 an hour on average. And I was like, okay, but like my whole day is fucked. If I've got a job from 9 to 10 and I need to be here at 7, and then I've got a job from 12 to 1, and then I've got a job from like 6 to 8, like my whole day is fucked. And he's like, well, you know, you've got to be an adult and you should be running errands in that downtime. And it's like, what the fuck? I'm like fucking 20 years old. Like, what fucking errands do I have to run? Like, what the fuck? I don't know. Yeah, it's shit.
All right, Kavuki, you in here? You want to ask your question, girl?
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I was watching old debates again, and what do you think, looking back on all those skeptics and right-leaning debates that you had back in the beginning of the year, or last year, I should say, probably?
What more specifically? What do you mean? What do I think about him?
Just like looking back on the VODs, I guess. What's like the first thought, like how it impacted you, or
I mean, it pushed me into I mean, my whole life journey has kind of been becoming more and more cynical, but it made me very, very, very cynical of people in general. I have a very low opinion of people in general at this point in my life, probably the lowest it's ever been. And I've been moved into like anti-democracy positions as well as a result. I think that people seem to be incapable of making sense of the world around them in any type of intelligible way. So yeah, I don't know. It probably contributed pretty negatively to my apathetic outlook on things, or my cynical outlook on things.
Hey, speaking of that, how do you feel about, I mean, I guess you're kind of getting your wish in a way with like the deplatforming of Jones and the InfoWars people in the very least, right?
Yeah, fuck them, dude. Get them the fuck out. It's bad faith
Finally
actors,
actually
and
have...
my bad faith actors are the worst types of humans to me, so.
Well, that's mostly just happening because of the bad optics for those companies.
Oh,
right?
yeah, no, I know. They're not getting rid of them because they operate in bad faith. But at this point, I'm a big any means necessary. I don't give a fuck. That's why with like the Kavanaugh shit, like I don't care if those accusations are real or not. Fuck Republicans and fuck them in any way necessary. Even if Dems were faking accusations, fucking that would be a
that's a super.
Do you think
a super broad claim to make?
Do you think that we need like mandatory like quote unquote TV time where it actually shows like what your local representatives are for and everything like that? Like all news or all stations like pretty much go to that one channel and then they like show like the actual views of like each person like running.
We're supposed to already have that. I mean, equal representation is like a thing.
It doesn't like, I mean, no one will watch it.
It doesn't
right?
actually
like,
work, but yeah.
It does. I thought that was one of the most damaging things that's ever happened to U.S. media. I should research this more. But wasn't there a big thing like
supposed to allow for equal time?
Yeah,
but they never like.
But didn't that end up making it so that a whole bunch of fucking crazy people were platformed? Like, isn't that where a lot of like the crazy conservative shit? Because I mean, fuck.
In a way, like
no. There's a right or wrong answer to this. Does anyone in chat know what I'm talking about? This isn't just like a like how do
Can you explain what you're talking about?
I thought that there was like at one point in time there were standards for what was allowed to be on like public radio and shit. You couldn't just go on and lie or some shit. And then this was challenged under some fair media shit. And that's why you get a lot of people now that are on the radio that just like tell blatant fucking lies, but it's okay because it qualifies as entertainment and you have to be able to side both viewpoints. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? The Fairness Doctrine? That might have been it. Hold on.
The Fairness Doctrine doesn't have to do with why like Fox News is allowed to broadcast. The Fairness Doctrine was like the idea way back when there were like 3 television stations that
The Fairness Doctrine of the United States FCC introduced in 1949 was a policy that required the holders of broadcast licenses both to present controversial issues of public importance and to do so in a manner that was, in the FCC's view, honest, equitable, and balanced. The FCC eliminated the policy in 1987 and removed the rule to implement the policy from the Federal Register in August of 2011. I thought this had a big impact on shit, but okay, but never mind. All right, so good. I would have to go back and look more into it.
Guy Pearson says public broadcasting has the right of rebuttal. Okay, we can talk about that if you guys want. If you want to throw up a question, Guy, and just come in here and talk, you can. Let's get through a couple more. I only have like a handful more on my list, and then we can just do open kind of discussion if you want. Ed Nuthy asks, "What's your motivation to do shrooms again?"
I don't know. It's a unique experience. You can't
Hey,
get anywhere
Density.
else.
I hope this sub helps you achieve your destiny.
The Mr. Mooten, the combo stream, dude. 2 men enter, 1 man leaves.
I'd stream it if I got all the donations for the stream that day.
Thanks, Dave Squid.
Oh man.
Wouldn't they ban you? I mean, for shrooms, for like hard like.
Can you not stream that?
Just don't tell him it's shrooms.
I don't know. I'd have to ask Kevin. I'd ask Kevin if I wanted to ever do it.
All right, so it's just a unique experience.
Yeah, very much so.
Soul crushing.
So you say it like literally felt like it lasted forever? Does it still feel like that you lived like that eternity or quote unquote? Like
kind of. I
do
mean,
you feel
obviously
like
I
an
can
older
look back
soul?
and I know that no,
Yeah.
not at all. I
Okay.
mean, I can look back and contextualize it, but I mean, at the time, it's impossible to do so.
How was it smoking pot? Like when you actually smoked it, not the edibles. Was it tolerable or what?
No, I had a big panic attack as soon as I started to feel myself getting high. Basically, as soon as I feel myself, it feels like as soon as I feel myself shifting into an altered state of mind, I have a panic attack.
Do you think that you could push through it? Asking for a friend here in a similar situation.
Well, yeah, that's my goal. That's why I want to try to be able to smoke weed again.
Do you drink
weed
Destiny?
every day?
What did you say, Dan, or who asked?
Do you drink, and does the same effect happen?
I don't drink, and I haven't tried getting drunk. I've wondered if it would happen, though.
It won't. I mean, at least it didn't for me.
Dan's a lightweight, though, so.
The fuck, Moon?
I love you,
I mean,
Dan.
that experience with weed is not like unique to Destiny. I know a lot of people who have similar.
Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah, it's
the
just
only thing is that I've never had that experience with weed before, and I think the edible that I ate with Dan was pretty large for me too, but I'd never had anything remotely like that experience. But I heard a lot of people say that if you've done a big psychedelic, that it can change your relationship with weed quite a bit. That you can you're more open to psychedelic experiences and whatnot on weed. Because I didn't even know that marijuana, cannabis, I didn't know that was a psychedelic. I didn't even fucking know that. I thought it was just like it fucking makes you like kind of drunk, not literally drunk, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it like
I think
literally?
I think what you experience is just pretty common for people who are kind of self-observing, right? Like it certainly happened to like me and a bunch of other people I know, right?
Wait, what do you
if
mean?
you pass some threshold of self-observation, right? The thing that with like mind-altering drugs is you'll notice differences in your thought patterns or
I thought they don't recome taking hallucinogens to people
your observation
with
of the world,
sociopathic
and that can have like a
behaviors.
tendency to freak you out.
Well, wait, what? No, with weed, it was
Not
literally.
Wait a minute, did you smoke pot when you were doing shrooms, Destiny?
Fuck no. I don't think
Oh,
I'll ever
fuck.
be the type of person to like stack drugs like that. No.
Because that's what I did, and I assumed that they got associated in my mind as a result from that. So you actually got fucked on weed, and you didn't even do them at the same time?
No, definitely not.
Wait, you did that much shrooms and you smoked pot?
No.
Harkton?
Yeah.
Oh, Harkton.
No, not you, sorry.
Yeah, I did, and I assumed that's why. I
That's
mean, because
insane.
I tried smoking pot like probably 10 more times, and I staggered it. So I did it like I think one after a week, one after a month, and then a few times over the next 2 years. And every
You
time
got a panic attack?
I don't. It's not like a panic attack to me. I was like more like, it's a different feeling than a panic attack because I've had both. It's more like you're in that fear inducement that you had right when you're in the middle of the trip. It's different, but yeah, it was shit.
Oh, okay. Your panic attack stemmed from just loss of self, right, Steven? Is that kind of what it is?
Well,
or
my
no?
first one was totally fucking random as fuck.
But like the new, I guess.
Any others had to do with thinking about it was feelings of like unreality, I guess.
Yeah. Next question.
All right, Emma, are you in here? Emma's a regulator.
No, she's not.
All right, she was going to ask what your thoughts with regards to the occupation of Palestine. Do you agree with the U.S.'s
It's
choice
way
to support
too
Israel?
fucking complicated. I don't.
Way too complicated?
Way too complicated of an issue. Fuck that.
Wait, what is it?
Anything relating to Palestine.
Regards on the
and
occupation
Israel.
of Palestine. Like the Israel topic is like, I mean, you could just have a channel dedicated to that.
What's like the big meme? Like anybody who like looks into it will side with like Palestine for like if anybody who looks into it for like a minute will like side with Palestine, but anybody who like keeps looking into it will side, like does anybody know what I'm talking about?
I mean,
the
it's
idea is that
it's
both
just
sides
really
have a
complicated.
lot of weird
Really
fucking
fucked,
shit going
yeah.
on, and it's really hard to point to a clear good guy, bad guy. I think.
Yeah. Zodiac, you want to ask your question real quick?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, considering like the major impact like the British Empire, British Empire's imperialism and colonialization has had on the world today, would you say that's positive or negative, and why that is?
This is like a fucking massively broad question. The impacts of colonialism on the world.
Yup. Oh, we can
get us
fine.
here,
We're saying
like-
yeah, well, fine. Let's do a small example. America. Do you think British colonization in America was a good or a bad influence?
With respect to what? What do you mean?
Initial colonialization, as in before the War of before the War of Independence.
I mean, like, it wasn't good for the Native Americans. I don't know. I don't know how to answer this question. I need like a value that I can evaluate this with respect to.
Can't give you any value then.
Well, I mean, what am I supposed to say? Like, it was good. Well, because of why? Or it was bad. Well, why? It's got to be with respect to some type of thing, with overall technological progress of the world, with the positions of white people in the world, with relations.
Your personal values, then I'll put it across like that.
I mean, it's probably good for me because I live in America, and America's really good in most respects still somehow. And so, I mean, I don't know. How can I evaluate something 250 years ago in respect to me?
I don't know. You'd have to look at the initial, like, before it happened, and then, like, the outro of, like, after it happened.
Yeah, but how can I assume what the world would be like today if we hadn't colonized the United States? I don't know how the fucking answer.
Well, if like the British hadn't colonized it, then it would have been like the Spanish, and you could see like how much they fucked up like pretty much every place they went to, for example. Or you could just see like how the French went in, and or things like that. Or if we left them to their own devices, which was the original British plan, where they only wanted the 13 colonies and didn't want to expand any further. Whereas, like, when they left, like, the Americans were just like, you know what? We're just going to fucking kill them. And then they went to the age of expansion.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. I don't think I could evaluate this question. I don't think I have the background to do it. I wouldn't be able to conceive of a Spanish-owned America.
It's pretty fucked up. I'll leave it at that.
All right, Darius asked a quick question. Do you have any updates on the 2 chat system?
No, I'm waiting for Cake to squash some bugs on the site, and then I'll start poking other people to work on that.
Okay, that's an easy one. Abuse asks, could you ask Destiny to elaborate on why he didn't like Bakano?
I don't, because it's the first couple episodes are so fucking slow. I don't give a fuck about any of this shit going on. Maybe in the future episodes I'll change my mind. All right.
What's this 2 chat system?
I would like it to be set up so that like my chat, you can like click a button and have like a second like chat kind of there. You don't have to like go to different screens.
So like how we had like on on TeamSpeak, like you had 2 different general chats. Is that kind of what you mean?
Kind of like that, yeah, sure, yeah.
Okay. So
you could have like movies or
shit.
not at all like streams, not at all like that. So.
Oh, okay. So you want both chats to be seen at once.
What I basically want is like, you see on my chat, you see how you can click like the whispers thing here and then left click something else, right? Like, having be able to tab between chats like this would be really, really cool. I think that would be awesome.
So not like the streams one where you can tab between streams and d.gg.
Yeah, those aren't tabs. Those are like separate browsers being loaded.
Yeah.
Those are separate web pages being loaded. Yeah.
Got it.
Do we want to do shit about veganism? Because there's a bunch of questions about veganism.
Sure, I'm gonna rapid fire him
now. Mero asks, gotta go back to work. Feels basically, what's changed about your arguments concerning veganism? Because you've recently stated that you feel more comfortable arguing with vegans.
I've just figured out higher order truths for myself a little bit more solidly than I had in the past. And then that's just, I guess, it's helped me do that argument a little bit more consistently.
Okay, and has that changed like your argumentation about abortion at all?
No, I don't want to talk about abortion. I'm not doing abortion. Fuck, holy fuck!
Okay, we're not doing
fucking boring. I don't want to do
it. This person had kind of like a separate question in that he says it's almost better to lie about your positions on certain things like abortion, veganism, so he doesn't have to constantly defend himself. How do you feel about potentially lying to your community about how you feel about stuff?
Yeah, it might be true, but then I realized I don't care that much, so fuck it. So I just tell the truth.
Just like shut it down.
I thought about it for a minute. Where I was like, I'm gonna lie about my moral positions, but then I remember, you know what? Fuck it. I don't give a fuck. Just fucking let people fuck off if they're not happy.
I PM'd you on Discord.
I don't give a fuck.
All right, Incognito, you want to ask your question, buddy?
Sure. Yeah, which question? All right, Destiny.
Oh no.
What? What's wrong?
What the fuck do you want, Incog?
Nothing. What's going on, buddy?
Nothing much. All right, what do you got?
All right, here. I got a question. Then just 1 second. I'm just setting it up.
Oh well.
Here it comes.
Dude, you didn't even buffer the gnome video?
Right.
Come on.
I'm gonna mute you in 2 seconds.
So let's say, hypothetically, you're a ruler of a country, right?
A ruler of like Lord's Mobile Guild. Yeah, go ahead.
I said a country.
Okay.
You put them in the place of the best economic policies, the best social policies, and they're doing very well, right?
Okay.
Do you think it's acceptable to use 4-hour shields to protect your troops?
Listen, as long as the country's people messages their king and tells him when the shield is down, it's all good, okay?
What if the king doesn't really respond to
On
messages
behalf
from
of
the country's
everyone.
people?
I respond when I see my shield is down. I pick up that phone immediately, okay?
Did you show the point in the trip video where you're like, wait, my shields?
I think they missed the first 3 hours. Yeah.
Wait, I thought I was on the phone for that. Fuck.
No.
I don't know. I don't remember. I'm too old. I'm a boomer.
Okay, get him out of here,
That boomer
Stanley.
brain.
Get this
All right.
guy out of here.
I can't do that. I'm not a regulator. I'll just fucking server mute him. He can languish. All right, Reggie, this isn't really a question, it's just a comment. As much as I love the political streams, your game movie rants are some of my favorites. As a huge film buff, I'm wondering what some of your favorite movies are.
I don't have good movies for film buffs. My favorite movie of all time, I really like
Pan's Labyrinth.
Hell
I've
yeah.
never seen
Plebeian?
But otherwise, yeah, I don't.
Can we watch Pan's Labyrinth tomorrow night, chat?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Pan's Labyrinth's good.
Thanks.
I feel like that movie
Doobie.
could have been longer.
Doobie, you're in here, and after that it's Roach. You guys want to ask your questions? Doobie first.
Doobie the race baiter?
What? Yes.
I would never.
The other
Doobie, I've
political
heard
guy.
stories. What are you doing in my Discord?
Not much. Just hanging out.
No, I meant in
I was
general,
actually
but,
wondering.
yeah.
I've noticed you've been kind of bored with like the Christian thing and some of the usual Discord memes. So like, what kind of topics actually interest you these days?
Oh
What
shit!
would
I remember
want
you
to
asked
debate
me.
about?
I've been just kind of like focused on stream related stuff right now. Like I've got a lot of shit that I'm trying to finally get fucking rolling on my stream. So like podcast related shit, like different types of working with other streamer related shit. I've just been doing like a lot of stuff in the background right now. Fuck, I have to go through my emails to even figure out all the random shit I'm doing. Oh yeah, that fucking merchandise company bullshit. Yeah, I don't know. I've just been kind of like focusing on stream related stuff, so I haven't been doing the debate related stuff as much. I imagine that'll probably pick up a lot more come up to like the midterms and whatnot.
Okay. Can I ask another quick question real quick?
Yeah, no, I can stop out.
So you kind of scared me off doing shrooms with your shroom thing. But
what?
like
Wait, he
with
did like
your-
an incredible amount of shrooms though. I've done mushrooms at like the 3 or 4 grams or whatever, and it was perfectly fine.
Do
I had
my
a really-
or never mind.
I had a very artsy experience, so like I wouldn't be
Artsy
afraid to like have an artsy experience. Yeah, as Steven said. But like,
Well, like here's the
10
thing.
grams
like,
is scary.
Like I've never done any like marijuana, like nothing.
Oh yeah, start out small.
But I really want to try DMT because Joe Rogan convinced me that I need to do it. Have you ever done it, or would you consider doing it?
Yeah, I'd probably consider doing it.
What does DMT do to you? I've never heard.
It's like a 15-minute.
Like you talk to aliens and shit. I
It's
don't know.
supposed to be like a very intense psychedelic thing, but it's very short-lived, like 15 to 30 minutes tops, I think.
Can you only do DMT once, or can you do it multiple times?
do it
Because I heard that when you
multiple times.
okay, when you die, apparently, don't you get that DMT shit? And then if you do it while you're alive, apparently you don't get it.
I thought that was a meme.
I
Like they
have
just
no
found it
idea.
in the body.
I just heard that on Joe
There've been
Rogan.
some studies, but
For Doobie, I wouldn't recommend like using the strongest psychedelic drug for your first experience with like.
Yeah,
mild
people
alternate
keep saying that.
substances.
You should probably just go try some weed, dude.
Yeah.
I considered it. I just can't get over the smell. I don't know. It's a
That's being a little bitch, dude.
You can
Plug your
just-
nose.
Just eat it.
Yeah, you can
You
eat
can
an
also
edible.
ingest.
But if you do
Edibles
if you eat an
suck.
edible,
Edibles
the
is so
dosing, you have to be super fucking careful. You need to start with like super fucking babby doses because people will go big on like edibles and you can have horrible fucking experiences on
terrible.
edibles. Yeah.
I was playing
5, 10
Minecraft with
milligrams.
Steven, Cheeks, and like somebody else, and like I took an edible, and then at one point it just like felt, I don't know how to explain it. I just felt like I was like third bodying or whatever, like out of body experience, and I like had to quit and like go lay down. Then I couldn't go to work the next day, and yeah, fuck edibles.
oh my god.
It was some crazy
How much
shit,
do you
dude.
have?
I have no idea. I was like telling, because I was in Oregon, so weed was legal, and I was telling my friend, I was like, dude, weed does nothing for me. And he's like, okay, here, take this, and he gave me like this like big gummy or whatever. He was like, only take half. and then I took the whole thing, and yeah, I went on a fucking experience.
You fucked up.
Oh, I did, yeah.
I've been really. Wasn't
The edibles can take like 2 hours to hit you fully. So
Yeah, it
just be
did.
careful.
It took like an hour to hit, and then I was like, it's not even hitting, and then boom.
It creeps up on you.
It gets
I had a
you.
friend in
Yeah,
that
you go
position.
from at edibles, you go from like 0 to 100 in like a couple seconds. You're just like, oh shit, am I high? And you're like, oh fuck, I'm gone. All right, Roach. Roach asked a question he's been waiting for a long time. For a relatively new Destiny viewer, what stands out to him as the most productive debate he's had? Sorry if it's been
None of
so
my
much.
debates are productive. If you're looking for productivity, my debates are not the place to look.
He's lying. You should go back and at least watch the debates. I think that the Contra one's pretty interesting.
We didn't even debate.
I mean, they're just chats then, just discussions that are interesting. I think the one with the the British feminist lady was really interesting. She has a pretty cool Twitter.
Okay. Christy Winters or whatever?
Christy Winters, yeah.
Oh, I'm
She's
setting
pretty
up
neat.
a thing where I'm going to be on a podcasty thing, or just like one episode with, the woman's name is Nice Mangoes, I think.
The Twitter handle? Yeah.
Yeah. That's something I've got working in the background right now as well. That's probably going to be around the end of this month.
Smash Chair, I'm dragging you in. You can talk about Kavanaugh shit. Okay, you're in Gen subs.
Maybe not.
Smash.
He left.
Oh my god, dude.
Spooked him, dude.
But like, if you have like an open-ended question about Kavanaugh hearing,
Here,
shit,
I'll move
like,
him back in.
What's
sure.
your opinion about the
Smash,
Kavanaugh
are you
hearing?
here? Smash Tier, the creator. Okay.
What a pussy.
All right, all right. What's your opinion on the Kavanaugh hearings? I've got a couple questions about them.
Hasn't he already answered that? It's really broad, too.
I mean, Kavanaugh handled himself really, really poorly. In terms of whether or not Ford actually did it, I don't know. I don't know if anyone will ever know that, or if we can know that for sure. But yeah, Kavanaugh fucked up real hard. He handles himself very poorly under question like that.
Do you think the stuff with Mike Judge on his like YouTube channel was pretty fucking weird and interesting? Maybe like that could lead to.
Yeah, well, it was
I don't know.
interesting, but Kavanaugh
I mean,
was saying that like,
no one will
Judge,
ever
any reference
know,
he made to
right?
him was just fictional or whatever. So I don't know.
Yes. What was the reason that
Hold
he's
on,
already?
one second.
What? Fucking Nathan. Well, I guess
No,
somebody
I
else can
can't
answer
do
it.
it.
What was the reason that
Then I'm going back to sleep.
Kavanaugh
on,
should
should
have
be back in
been
person.
disqualified already? Just in
That
the
he
hearings?
perjured himself a couple times. That he
He
said
perjured
some like
himself a few
pretty
times?
really dumb shit that nobody believes.
He blamed like the left for like
Oh
conspiring against
yeah,
him
he
and
showed that
shit,
he's a
like,
partisan.
Yeah, partisan.
I mean, it was like literally like live just
Showed that his whole fucking
propagandizing.
career, though, but yeah.
It was just really detestable.
Wasn't there, like,
IMS
five-
act. Steven, you here?
Yeah.
IMS asked earlier if you, because you kind of mentioned this earlier, that you wouldn't mind if even if the allegations were fake against him, and he's like, doesn't that set a pretty bad precedent?
No. I used to think this, but the problem is that Republicans will literally lie, cheat, steal, whatever, and do whatever means necessary for their political gain. So I think that the only way to combat that is to do the same on the other side.
So you're proud that the Dems are finally stepping up to do that shit?
No, I don't think the Dems are doing it. I think the Ford accusation is probably...
Hey, but if they did, would you respect them more?
Fuck yeah, I would.
Fuck yeah. Oh, I have a good question. Do you think that Twitch should mandate big streamers to see a therapist? If not mandate, strongly suggest and like pursue. If not, have
Wait,
on-site
what?
ones.
Say that again?
Do you think Twitch should either mandate or strongly suggest to bigger streamers that you should see a therapist?
Like, I can't comment on that. I guess maybe, but I don't know. I don't really know, but maybe.
Why?
Why? Because a lot of big streamers seem to have like really bad like mental health, and I don't think it's very good for your psyche to have your chat there like either A, continuously boosting you up so you're on such a level that you never like kind of like know who's being real around you or whatever, or B, you have your chat like kind of like Mitch Jones's where people are constantly in there doing digs at you and shit, so you probably don't really have like anybody to talk to about like that shit anymore. I think a therapist would be nice to have, like, to give these big streamers like a person or an outlet that they can actually like trust and talk to.
Yeah, I just
about
don't know
their
if it's like
issues.
Twitch's responsibility or job to like make sure that's happening.
Yeah.
Well,
they can just do them
they're like the
themselves.
employees at this point, so you want your employee to last a long time. And if your employee, like Asmongold, is having mental issues currently, you would hope that the psychologist would kind of like deter that and set it back or whatever, right?
Yeah, maybe.
I guess.
you've been doing a lot more like the partnership stuff as far as like talking to other streamers and like going on podcasts and stuff. What do you think about? Do you think it's like consistent as far as like the smaller, lower population view count streamer benefits from like the relationship with the higher count one consistently, or do you think that like smaller streamers do have to be weary of basically getting their audience hijacked by somebody that's like, you know, a more well-rounded or like experienced streamer?
No, because like a larger streamer shouldn't be able to hijack a smaller streamer's audience because the smaller streamer probably already knows about the larger streamer, I would imagine, right? You should be the smaller streamer that's getting more exposure. I mean, I guess it's possible if you're talking about like somebody that gets like 200 concurrents versus somebody that gets 50 maybe, but
yeah, I mean, in the sense that like, you know, like someone's basically established like a 500-600 viewer account, and then like a bigger streamer with like a, you know, that people enjoy the content of more basically is like seen on that stream, and then that relationship ceases and 200 of those people go with the person that like, you know, they enjoyed the interaction with more. And if that's like a legitimate fear that like,
no, I mean, I've never heard of that happen. That'd be really fucking funny. I joke about that sometimes with like smaller streamers that I interact with, or I'll say that to like Bella sometimes, like I'm only here so I could steal your 200 viewers and then peace the fuck out. But I don't think that realistically ever happens. That would be like pretty funny, but yeah.
All right, Zodiac was gonna ask, how do you feel about the gnome meme being like the new Rickroll of fucking Twitch?
Oh yeah, dude, that meme is going fucking mainstream, dude.
And where did the like yikes meme come from? Because I see it fucking everywhere. Did you steal that from somebody else, or like?
I think Tyler 1 was the one that started saying yikes.
Mm-hmm.
And then
was it just that the meme from like American Idol, like big yikes from that?
I don't think he ever says that. I think it says it's gonna be a no from me, dog. And then
that's gonna be
yeah.
And then I don't know, it just seemed like it fit. Like that's gonna be a major yikes from me. That's gonna be.
I've seen it on huge streams now. Like Ninja says it. Like fucking Admiral Bulldog says it all the time.
I don't take credit for just saying yikes. My thing is that's gonna be a major yikes.
No, they say that verbatim, or like big yikes or whatever.
A lot of my memes get propagated through the offline TV network. So
he also steals a lot of his memes from me.
No.
Yeah, I know. We all know.
Yeah, the really garbage ones.
Oh, I would like to say that you were my avenue to get the gnome meme huge, but I was the one who originally did the gnome meme. Except I stole it from one chatter who I don't remember. But yeah. Just want to put that out there for everybody, for the internet historians.
Destiny, do you have some favorite streamers?
Me.
He's answered this like a bazillion times.
He loves Tyler 1.
Yes, Tyler 1.
He loves Tyler 1's his number one.
Yeah, Tyler 1 is funny as fuck, and Dr. Disrespect is funny as fuck. Those are the two that I think are really funny. Yeah.
Yeah, Tyler 1 definitely has like a next level kind of persona thing going on. I don't know if I've ever seen that on the same level as him.
Does he have a persona? I thought that was just him.
No, he doesn't. It is just him.
I'm pretty sure that's just him, dude.
If you go watch his old college days, it's literally him, dude. Oh, he used to run it down. So.
If you had to pick some people from your past to like live in a gaming house with you, would you live with like Debo and shit? Do you still keep up with Debo?
I'd never live with a fucking gaming house.
I live with Tyler 1, dude.
I literally asked you this earlier.
That's going on the int list.
Or a stream house or whatever the fuck.
No, I would never live in a streamer house ever.
Do you keep up with Debo still, or no?
No, you did though. You did live in the streamer house. What are you talking about?
I've stayed in Poland for 3 months, but that's because I lived in another fucking country.
Oof.
Would you roommate with Pokelols?
No, I don't want roommates. I don't like that. If I live with a person, it's because.
But it's Poke.
Because he's fucking him.
Yeah, fuck that.
Hey, Poke's pretty cute.
Hey, next question, go.
This person, Patrick asks, I was surprised to hear that one of your biggest interests is sex. Could you elaborate and maybe explain why sex is on the same list as politics and music?
I don't know, because it feels good and it's interesting. It's a good meme.
Feels good, man.
Yeah, why not?
What's your favorite position?
Whatever position
Doggy.
gets my dick inside your mom.
That's gonna be hard. I don't think any position can get a little tiny dick inside my mom.
Sure.
Fuck, marry, kill.
Mr.
Greek,
Moon's mom,
Wreckful,
Mr. Moon's
Trihex.
mom, Mr. Moon's mom. Fuck, marry, kill is such a dumb question. Go to the next.
You're so dumb. Next.
Fucking negative.
Are we at the
All right,
bottom of the
Poppy, you got
barrel for
fucking-
these
Yeah,
fucking
right.
questions?
Sounded
Holy
like it.
shit.
Well, then we're gonna open out to like open questions in a bit. You ask Steven when the next comp challenge is. Are you even gonna do those anymore?
Do you want me to write it up?
Shut the fuck up. I should just record it and put it out. I can do it.
Torbersea, you're in here, dude. Go.
Nice. Good.
Stage fright. Come on, Thorpe, you got.
Holy shit! I didn't know I was live. Okay, this is crazy. Okay.
He told you.
Oh, damn,
Okay.
son.
So, Destiny.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lincoln is better than Omaha. I'm sorry, dude.
Yes.
God damn it, dude.
That
Fuck
it?
off. Dinos, you got a question? You've been waiting for a long time.
Oh yeah.
Ah!
Ooh. When you were in high school
Yeah.
for psychology,
Yeah.
did you have like a favorite chapter that you did?
No, I don't think there was like a favorite. Everything was like pretty
Interest
evenly
like sucks cock.
What? Oh, I love
What?
that.
You like learning about the history of like, ugh.
Oh no.
That one was boring.
A high school IP psych was
That's
probably
what
more
we
like
did.
was probably more like a survey of psych or some shit. It was just like a general overview of a lot of interesting shit.
Oh, mine was like a full-on like history class of like all of the old psychologists and learning about like fucking Freud and Piaget and just all of the history that nobody gives a fuck about.
For your AP class?
Yeah, for my AP class.
I mean, the AP curriculum should be standardized. So if you did AP Psych, my AP Psych should have been similar to yours. I mean, we studied a lot of like the older psych dudes. Like we go over Freud and Jung and Pavlov.
What cool shit
and
did
other
you
shit.
learn? I mean, we learned about like some like stuff that happened, like Pavlov's dog and like the horse, the Hans or whatever that did the tapping.
For me,
remember
I had a
those.
different chapter for each unit. So I would have like adolescent psychology, and then we had a whole chapter over like Freudian weird stuff.
Oh,
I don't
didn't
know.
have that.
Yeah, we had
Like
that
what-
shit, but we also had there were a lot of like, I don't know, didn't you learn about like memory or any cool shit like that or?
Maybe briefly. I remember learning about like colorblindness briefly.
Like, did you study the brain at all?
Fuck no.
Yeah, we learned about like axons and dendrites and shit like that.
Oh, I don't remember doing that at all.
Did you do well on your test?
Yeah, I fucking passed. I got a 4, I think.
Oh.
Chad Saul wants, he's bitching on me. He wants you to reestablish your stance on veganism. Can you
Fuck
do that real quick?
vegans and fuck animals. They don't do shit.
I
for
would
me.
also like to say that every psych class blends together now because they're all fucking connected. I don't know.
Because your brain is so big.
I guess, dude.
What else is big?
That's about it.
All right.
Ask your mama.
Message, you in here?
Yes, I am.
All right, buddy. Go ahead.
You already asked my question though, so.
All right, if you'd like to ask a question, say me.
Docky, do you want to fucking talk?
No one wants to ask a question, dude.
I can ask a question.
Yep, go
It's
ahead.
not really a good one. So I just logically, if you could go back in time and make it so that you never had a child, do you think you would, and that you would just be farther in life? Maybe. I'm not trying to like meme or anything.
Man, I don't know how you can answer those questions.
You shouldn't.
Shut the fuck up, Mr. Dipshit ass moon. It's hard to say, like, if you have something that you like, to envision a world where that thing doesn't exist, but you wouldn't miss it. I don't know if there's a way to answer those questions, right?
Okay.
If you have a good way, I don't know. I mean, like, obviously I would be farther ahead in life in a lot of different ways, financially at least, and then probably where I live, but But I mean, I like Nathan, so I don't know. It's really hard to answer. It's kind of like the equivalent answer that you can kind of ask is like, let's say, for instance, you could remove all of your sexual pleasure from right now, and you never would have known that you would have ever even had any. Would you prefer that? Because I mean, you would never waste time masturbating or waste time like pursuing, you know, some types of relationships. So I mean, technically, it'd be good. But then you'd also never have the experience of doing any of that. So is it worth it if you'd never known about it because you can't really miss it? I don't know what the correct way to answer those questions is, you know. I'd have to think about it more.
Okay. I would just like to clarify that masturbating is definitely not a waste of time.
Why?
God, no, it's not.
What do you mean, why?
It's the only thing that kept me from killing
what if,
myself.
what if you could be
is awesome.
doing something else instead?
That's all I do.
That's all he does. That's all he wants to do, dude. He's living the dream.
All right, next one. Okay.
Hey, hey, Destiny. Would you consider like reaching out to like more leftist YouTube streamers?
Dances.
Like, not YouTube streamers.
Stop. If you want to ask a question, just PM me. There's like literally people waiting in line. Can you chill?
Oh wait, I think
There's like I invited a couple like small leftist YouTubers who wanted to come on. There's one in here right now. Her name is Maria the Witch, and she wants to talk to Steven. So
Wait, fuck! I thought he was fine to ask that question. Holy shit,
can somebody give me some background? Does Stanley like fucking hate this guy? He does, doesn't he?
No, he just like it's like he's just
had him muted, though.
asks all questions and shit. I had him muted when I thought I was gonna mute everyone. And
Dances, you're good. Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Finish it up. I'm sorry.
Just chill.
I mean, I thought he said like feel free to ask a question.
Yeah, I thought he did too. That's what I
I
heard.
generally thought open questions were.
How does one ask a question?
And then apparently
just fucking go ahead.
Okay.
Never mind. Go ahead, Dances.
I mean, apparently, like you already answered my question, so.
Wowie.
Maria, hit him up. Hit him up.
Hello.
Attack.
Hey, what's up?
Hi, Steven. How have you been? Have you missed me?
Yes, so much. It sounded really sarcastic. Sorry, go ahead. What's up, buddy?
Ask anything to do with leftism. I want to ask about suicide. Do you think that...
Yes, I'm going to go to the bathroom and get some coffee. You guys chilling here.
Okay.
I think that like people should ever be forcibly stopped from killing themselves, because I know you're in favor of like euthanasia for the terminally ill, but just like people in general.
I don't know. That's a really fucking hard one. I don't have a good answer for it. The conventional arguments given is that if a person is suicidal, typically people that are suicidal are not in right states of mind, so you have the authority to revoke their autonomy because they're not capable of making a wise decision. Much the same way, say that somebody is like completely drunk and they want to walk out into the street, like you wouldn't let them do that, even though technically it's their body and they can do what they want. You would argue that, well, this person's in a really fucked state of mind, so we shouldn't let that person do it. This is typically probably the best argument given in regards to not letting people just kill themselves if they're really depressed or something.
Yeah, but I feel like being drunk is a lot more temporary than
being suicidal.
Yeah, but actually being drunk would be comparable to being mentally ill, but I don't think you have to be mentally ill to be suicidal.
I would love to see more empirical data on this because I'm going to cite some super big bullshit, but isn't the big meme that like when people try to commit suicide, they typically realize afterwards that it's a mistake? Isn't there like, I know there's something about the whole Golden Gate Bridge shit where when people jump off, they realize like, oh fuck, this is a bit.
My life's not that bad.
But maybe that's actually the adrenaline speaking, and it's not until I don't know. Maybe there could be like,
Does it even matter if they make a decision that, you know, they would regret if they fail, but if they succeed, then they won't regret it?
Does it matter? I would argue yes, because I think that we've made decisions in society, and then I personally would agree that there are times when it's acceptable to revoke the autonomy for a person for their own benefit. Say, for instance, I think children are a good example of this. Children are essentially function as slaves or pets, but we do this because we don't think that they can make decisions that are responsible for themselves in the real world. Like, if I were to leave it up to Nathan, for instance, he wouldn't attend school, he wouldn't eat healthy, he wouldn't fucking do anything. He'd probably be 700 pounds and he'd just play games all day and skip school and be a horrible person or whatever, right? But I mean, we've made the decision that, well, fuck children, they're too dumb, you know, to figure out what's good for themselves, so we kind of like, yeah. So I think you can argue similar things for people that are like in a suicidal state of mind, that like generally these people, we don't consider them fit to make decisions for themselves right now, so you like restrain them or you prevent them from harming themselves in some way, and then you once they've returned to a better state of mind, maybe it would be possible to set up a society in which you could kill yourself responsibly. Like you'd have to like decide about it ahead of time, make a formal declaration, and then when the time comes you go through with it or something. Maybe that would be okay.
Don't we do assisted suicide in Seattle?
Assisted suicide is different.
It's
Those
different?
aren't our
Okay.
medical things and shit, aren't they?
Yeah, I think so. You're right.
Yeah, setting up a society like that would be good, because I think it's kind of weird to think that being suicidal inherently means that you're irrational or mentally ill. You know Philosophy Tube, right? He made a video recently about how it might be possible to have like rational suicide because some people's lives are just that bad. And, you know, he doesn't really come to a very strong conclusion, I don't think, but it's an interesting discussion that he brings up.
Yeah, that is possible, but I would be very careful how you frame the discussion, because like, for instance, if you're like 20 years old and you're like healthy in terms of like mental and physical faculty, right? Like assuming you don't have like I don't want to say like severe Down syndrome, like all Down syndrome people should kill themselves, but if you're not like severely fucking disabled and you're missing like limbs and eyes and like your life is fucked, like if you're relatively physically healthy, and even if not like at peak health or whatever, and then like you're wanting to kill yourself, I would argue that that's probably being done irrationally most of the time.
And it comes down to...
I mean, you're kind of just like disqualifying my own value judgment, right? Like, who are you to say that I can't think, like, I can't prefer being dead than having whatever life I have? Like, I don't think you can say that's subjectively wrong.
Yeah, I would be attacking this on an intellectual level, and I would say most of the time those people are being stupid. That would be.
It's going to come down to some kind of societal definition about what.
Well, yeah,
what
but we're
mental
not.
illness probably
yeah,
is,
but we're
right?
not talking about societal definition right now.
Yeah,
Just sometimes, like what I would argue is that most people that are suicidal are haven't this is a really hard thing to get into. I mean, technically, if somebody really wants to kill themselves and they're an adult, I mean, it's really their decision. But I mean, I personally feel like most of those decisions are done out of ignorance. What was that?
What's up?
Oh, I thought I just heard someone talk in the background.
I did. I don't know.
Oh, okay. But yeah, I don't know. That's how I feel about it.
Abu
Yeah,
Dhabi.
no, I would agree that people usually don't really think it through, but I think it's possible that they could think it through, and then it shouldn't be a problem.
It definitely is possible, but the reason why I'm cautious against this line of discussion is because like there are probably people in the U.S. who get discouraged or who have eating disorders like they like bulimia or anorexia, where they either induce vomiting after consuming food or they don't eat enough. But like I would never use that as a means to say like, well, hold on, we need to be very careful about how we address obesity because some people have eating disorders, right? Like the amount of people that are say too thin are probably far outweighs the amount of people that are too fat. So like I would just be careful against using those types of arguments. So like I'm sure that there are some people. It sounds weird to say, but like I'm sure there are some people where suicide is like a rationally justified option, but I don't know if that's like the case in more than like 2% of cases, you know?
Yeah, it just worries me that like who would be the judge of that, but that's fair enough. I mean, by the way, I've always kind of wanted to say that I really admire your decision to not call the cops on your friend. So yeah, that's why I wanted to ask that.
Yeah, I don't know if that's an admirable decision though, because I would argue that that was a really stupid. I mean, like he made that choice in a really dumb state of mind, and had he still been alive, like I'm pretty sure we would be co-streaming today. Like he would have like a pretty fucking good life. I would consider my life to be pretty good, and I think he would have been a lot better off not killing himself. So I don't know if that, like, I would never hold that decision up as being like, oh, like this is really good. You know, like I let my best friend kill himself, and yeah. So I don't know. I'm really uncomfortable looking at that in that light. I think, I don't know.
Okay, thanks for answering.
Well, rip. Damn.
What happened?
I didn't mean it like that.
Well,
I meant not rip your friend. I meant like rip that you don't think it's a good thing.
Yeah,
oh my
well.
god, that was terrible.
Tell
Anyway, bye, Steven. I love you.
Yeah, see you later, buddy.
You're in, dude.
Okay.
Nice.
Thanks.
High five.
Good job, Mr. Moon.
Yeah, farming them. Are the people allowed to ask questions, Stanley? Or are you gonna freak?
Not that one guy.
Yes. Fuck Dances with Angels, my dude.
Yeah, Dances with Angels.
I got funny questions, my dude, but it is him. Dances.
I didn't mean to go off on you, Dances.
I'm not
You're
allowed.
good.
Okay, someone else sent me a question. They said, Destiny talked about how he's a hard determinist other than when you take into account quantum mechanics and the uncertainty principle. We know that science cannot predict all information about a future event. So how does he reconcile being hard determinist?
Okay, just go to the next question.
I nixed that. That's so dumb.
Yeah, you got
Literally
hella
so
ass
dumb.
mad, Stanley. Did him?
Geok, go ahead. Because if he actually knew like anything about determinism, it wouldn't be a question, right?
Well, no, that's not. I just don't want to. I've answered the same question like 400 fucking times. So
There's so many mathematical models that already have like random predictors built in. So if you could model even that randomness and just inject that into your model, right, it could be represented.
Maybe, sure. So here's the way I do it: is that one, maybe I'm not a strict determinist then, but if I'm not, that like quantum randomness doesn't get you any closer to free will. So that's the first thing. And then secondly, I don't even think it's necessarily rejected that scientists believe that the universe can't possibly be determined, but rather that we can't know about the determinism. Because I've had 2 different physicists email me big emails and like, listen, a lot of people come onto your stream and they talk about quantum randomness and they have no fucking idea what the fuck they're talking about. Like it is still possible under like many quantum physics models that things can be fully determined. It's just that we can't possibly possibly know about it and we can't measure it. But the idea that like quantum randomness means that things are 100% unpredictable, I've had like 2 different physicists send me like huge emails explaining why, but most of it is beyond me. So I just like parrot what they say. But even regardless, I don't care. It's just, even if there is no quantum randomness, then, or even if there is like true randomness in the universe somehow, that doesn't get you any closer to free will. So I don't give a fuck. All right.
Hey, we're gonna do open questions because a bunch of people are just like, I'm in the room and like, can I just ask a question? Just be respectful and yeah, just go whenever you're ready. Permello wanted to ask a question. Abu Dhabi wanted to ask a question. Geok.
All right, I guess I'll go first because you sent me first. So I know you're not like a huge fan of like clarifying your positions on shit because I know you have to do it all the time.
Please not abortion. Please not abortion.
No, don't worry. I was just kind of curious though, with regards to moral anti-realism, like what got you on that train of thought, because it felt like, and I'm a YouTube lurker, so maybe it's like some stream shit I missed, but it feels like it almost sort of happened overnight, where like all of a sudden you were a moral anti-realist, or maybe it was just more of like a gradual transition.
No, I think I've always been. I just haven't had like the vocabulary to put it into words until recently, I guess. But I think it pretty logically stems from a couple of beliefs. I mean, like, one, I don't believe in any kind of like objective moral fact, because let's back up. So I'm an atheist, right? So I'm also a materialist. I don't believe in or physicalist, I guess. I don't believe in any kind of spirituality or any kind of like supernatural shit. And so if I'm like that, I don't think that like moral fact can be found anywhere in the world. I don't think that there's like an objective true morality, or that these types of things can be discovered. So I mean, like, I think moral anti-realism stems pretty easily from that, right?
All right, yeah, that works.
To be careful about this, there are a lot of atheists that are far more intelligent than me that are also atheists that are moral realists. So I mean, like, yeah, I'm not saying that I'm like 100% correct. That's just how I feel. Yeah.
Could I ask you for a clarification?
Uh-oh.
I mean, would it be better to say that you don't know, or that you hold that position?
No, the position I have right now is that I don't believe that moral fact can be found in the physical world at all.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Hi.
Hi.
I have a question about JF.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Hit it up.
So, you used to criticize him because you would say like you could derive all his outcomes off of like what gets him the most babies, right?
Oh, that wasn't a criticism. That's just descriptive of his position.
Oh, okay. Well, I was just gonna say like, okay, I thought it was a criticism. Because then I would ask,
any
like,
system is whatever you fucking want it to be. You can make a moral system around what allows you to like stick your finger into the optimal number of belly buttons. I mean, it's not
I swear you said like it was like embarrassing that like you could like get all of his outcomes off of.
Oh, I mean, I think it's really stupid on a personal level, but I mean, like on a judgment level, I mean, I'm sorry. I guess. Okay, state your question, and then I'll have a better context to answer it. My bad. Go for it.
Well, if you don't really have a problem, I was gonna say, then how can you criticize him for that if yours is just whatever makes me the most happy?
Oh yeah, sure, yeah. I mean, ultimately, both of our positions are circular in the end. I just think my position is going to be more agreeable to more people than JF's position.
Okay, that's totally fair.
Sure. And then I would also, from a personal level, I would look down on somebody who's so obsessed with propagating their own genes. It makes me feel like that person has other problems, but that's just a personal thing. But okay.
Speaking of JF stuff, have you talked, like, how do you feel about Warski's like entire fucking breakdown?
I don't know. I don't give a fuck.
Is that pretty spooky?
Those guys ran out of content when I abandoned them.
Shit.
They all got fucked. I'm happy. Fuck them.
Yeah, they burnt out pretty quick.
Hey, I have a question.
What up?
So, it's a question about League, actually. What do you think would have to happen in order to League to become top dog again, both on player numbers and I guess streaming numbers? And if it did become top dog again, would you make it your main game again?
No, the game is very unfun right now for me. You die way too fast as an AD carry. You don't do enough for it. I don't know. It's just not fun for me. I feel like I need to be babysit constantly. That's why I stopped playing.
You didn't want to swap lanes? I know you tried before,
fuck
but
that shit. I don't want to fucking relearn a whole new fucking shit. I don't know if there is something that could make League like top dog again. It might just be that we're kind of like are going past the age of the MOBA and we're moving into the battle royale shit, and then we'll go to something else. You know, like I don't know if you could make League top dog again.
do you think positioning yourself to be a variety streamer would be way better than like just doing, say, Fortnite and then becoming Ninja, and then like 4 years from now it's gonna be some brand new game mode?
Oh, I mean, if you can do that, yeah, that's the best. I
That's
can't.
like the
I
dream,
like
yeah.
being good at a single game, and I like having a single game to grind. So
I feel like you do variety still, though. You kind of
I
went from
do,
like
yeah.
StarCraft to League to.
But it's like it's best when I have like a single thing I can grind. Like that's when I
Yeah.
feel the best. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which will be
Thanks
Call
for
of Duty.
grinding the Black Ops louder, baby.
Yeah.
Thanks for answering, dude.
Yeah, no problem.
Someone wanted to ask about like, did you think that the new Trump NAFTA deal was good? I have no idea what it was. I didn't read about it at all.
It's just NAFTA with like one more. I think they like put a 2.5% tariff on car imports, and that was pretty much the only thing.
Okay.
So basically, it's gonna make cars cost more.
Great deal.
But everything else was like copy paste NAFTA shit.
Wait, what the fuck? Why do so many view? Am I getting view botted?
No, this is what happens when you have an AMA, Dustin.
No one likes AMS.
Actually, I have a fan theory about you, Destiny. Are you actually depressed, or is that just me being delusional?
I don't think I'm depressed. No, definitely not.
Well, you kind of like tick box like every single symptom of being depressed.
Definitely
Wait, what
not.
symptoms does? Yeah, I don't think so.
Well, would you say that a checkbox for like being depressed would be like lack of like motivation to do anything?
Doesn't have
Yeah,
that.
for sure. But my lack of motivation to do like prepared things is far different. I think when you talk about depression, a lack of motivation usually stems from a lack of desire. Yeah, like I am super motivated to get up and stream and play games and go out and hang out with people and travel and see friends and people. Like, no, I have massive motivation for that. Like my lack of motivation, it can be better explained as like a lack of discipline than anything relating to depression.
Well, even then, you could say that's also inherent in people who are depressed, and maybe you are depressed, but you just can't see it.
No, the depression thing is way different than like his lack of motivation to do like content.
No, but I'm not saying it is. I'm saying it's probably just one of the fruits from the tree.
Well, okay. What other checkboxes do you think?
What
I think
what else is in the
Destiny is
DSM-5?
more like attention. Like,
Oh fuck! You put me in the spot now.
You gould have more than that.
Jonas, your
Well,
mic
he said he
is
checked
super
every
low. dude.
box.
Yeah.
What other boxes?
This is like a
What are the boxes?
It's essentially just the difference between like wanting to do scheduled behavior as opposed to wanting to like do things, right? Like you cannot want to like have like scheduled behavior, like motivational like things to do, and still want to do things.
All right, let's go through it. Do you have a depressed mood most of the days or nearly every day, Steven?
Definitely not.
Definitely not. Do you have markedly diminished interest or pleasure in all or everyday activities?
Definitely not.
Are you losing weight at a significant rate?
Not as significant as I like to.
Do you have insomnia or
He
hypersomnia?
doesn't have any weight to lose.
I think I have probably like some type of sleep disorder, but not insomnia. No. If I'm tired, I lay my head down and I go to bed immediately.
Do you have psychomotor agitation or like retardation nearly every day? Observable by others, like do you like move around and feel restless a
like
lot?
very lethargic or restless. No.
Are you fatigued or do you have loss of energy?
No.
Okay. Do you have feelings of worthlessness or excessive or inappropriate guilt?
How can I be worthless when I'm the most valuable motherfucker here? Definitely not.
Do you have diminished ability to concentrate or indecisiveness?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Do you think about killing yourself daily?
Only when I play League.
Okay. He's good. He's alright, boys. He doesn't have
I don't think I have depression,
Damn.
not at all.
You don't.
Literally checked every box.
Hey.
And if we want to go down,
We need 5 or more. It's like
5 or
during
more,
a
yeah.
2-week period.
If you want to go down the fucking ADHD checklist, now I can hit a lot more of
Yes,
those. We can hit a lot of those, but depression definitely not.
Do you think ADHD medicine is like necessary for most kids in school now because we just physically weren't like built to sit in a classroom for 8 hours? Like,
This is kind of like my hot take on a lot of mental illness. I'm a little irresponsible to say this, but I don't give a fuck. I kind of wonder how much mental illness exists today just because we evaluate mentally ill people as people that can't function in today's society. But I wonder if today's society is so fucking far removed from what we would originally like. Would people say with like OCD or people with depression or bipolar, would they still have those if our whole life consisted of just walking around a ton, like picking berries and, you know, like eating meeting shit. Like, I don't actually know. I'm really curious about the answer to that. I'd be interested. Like, what are the rates of mental illnesses that occur in like those groups of like nomadic people? Yeah. The thing is that, to be clear, there are two equally conceivable hypotheses.
WEOW 3 months. Hope you don't get banned again so it doesn't get reset. PEPOTHINK.
Thanks, buddy. On one end, it's possible that like almost all of our mental illnesses stem from our life in current society, so they could be fixed with remedies to things like exercise or diet or other types of activities we do. But it's also possible that the brain is so complicated that maybe we actually just do have a lot of mental illness, and even back in the day those would have shown up, but we just had no way of like tracking it or measuring it. So I could see either one of those being possible.
I would say like, I just don't understand.
Some combination of the two. Go ahead.
I don't understand how we're required pretty much in classrooms and stuff to like focus for 8 hours a day when our attention span lasts maybe like you can do it for like 30 to 45 minutes. I think studies show like that you can actually like dutifully like study something. I think that classrooms need to be looked at like and change dramatically, but that's going to be a long time away.
One of the quotes that I like the most, I think I've quoted this on screen before, but it's like, if you were to grab somebody from the 1800s and bring them into modern day society, the only thing they would recognize is the education system. I think that's kind of interesting. We haven't really done anything. It's kind of strange that we sit someone in a classroom for 8 fucking hours. I can't even imagine that. I actually had like mild fucking like agitation just thinking of Nathan as soon as he went into kindergarten, that it's like, dude, I feel so fucking bad for you. You've got to sit through class for 12 fucking years. Like, oh my God.
I don't know how I did it. Like,
yeah, dude, looking back,
shit.
Dude,
I remember like my senior year, I was like just not going to class like a few days a week or whatever, just because it's like so fucking bad to go and just sit somewhere for 8 hours and just, it's like fucking daycare. That's what we do it.
Fuck that shit.
Speaking of like the attention span stuff, if you guys have ever read like Thinking Fast and Slow, that cross applies to like so many jobs. If you have like if you do problem solving or engineering or something, to focus on something for like 45 minutes to an hour, and then go do some like mindless tasks like just turning wrenches or like putting something together, and the amount of like good ideas that will just come to you as like it's like why shower thoughts are like super important too. Like when your mind is not active, you'll get like some of your best solutions and ideas.
Journalism as well.
Really interesting.
Something that I found. Oh yeah, real quick. Something that I found that I think every person should do that's really fucking important, and I've started doing this now in a notepad, and I just recently started doing this. I think that you should always have something to write in. If you ever have an idea, like just jotting it down and being able to revisit that at the end of the day is like actually incredibly insightful.
That's what a lot of successful people have said.
It seems really dumb and kind of silly, and you can just remember everything you thought anyway, but it's actually so. I would like highly encourage it.
Notebooks.
Yeah,
like
I would highly encourage anybody.
Oh, those are so nice.
If you
You're supposed to have one by your bedside.
Yeah, just like buy like a little notepad and just keep it with you all day. Just like jot shit down when you get it, and you'd be really surprised what revisiting those ideas at the end of the day, the type of insight you can have into your own mind, or how you were feeling earlier, or how you can revisit those ideas and look at them differently. Like, yeah.
Also, like try if you drive, if you have like a commute, try to do at least 15 to 20 minutes of that commute in relative silence and just kind of let your mind wander. Like it's very excellent.
Journalism, go.
Yeah. Hey, Destiny. I wondered, like, what do you think are the reasons that you've had like issues? Fuck, what was the word?
With relationships.
Yeah. What? Fuck. There's a word. Oh my God. Being interested or whatever in relationships over a long period of time, like you kind of grow out of them quickly. What do you think? Do you have any ideas as to why that is?
I don't know. That's a really hard one for me to. I think that generally, I think what happens is that I like to keep to myself quite a bit, and the other person starts to end up like needing more of my time than what I'm actually willing to give. I'm not sure. I'll know the answer to this better in 2 years. You can ask me, and I'll know real well what the answer to this question is. Okay.
I mean, people just grow apart too. Like it's not always a question of one person or the other. Right?
Sure.
Some shit you try and you do it for a couple years.
I think it's a little. With my psychology degree, I don't know. It seems like it's a little different from Steven. Just being his friend, talking to him about it. It seems like, as he said, he just legitimately gets bored and like gets really disinterested and like aloof or whatever, like emotionally. I don't know. And it seems like a weird thing that every couple of years. It's like every like year. It's like a yearly thing. I don't know.
Kimchi just asked a question. Would you ever consider going back to your roots and give old school RuneScape a try? Oh, and Shadow Smiles.
Maybe someday, but probably not.
Hit them trees.
Hey, Destiny, I had a question.
Shadow Smile asked, I've noticed you've been working on your Instagram, and we've seen updates to your brand. Yeah, you actually dress in like real people clothes now.
Thanks.
Are there any additional plans moving forward that we can look forward to?
No, but I mean, if there are, I'll keep you updated.
When are you gonna get those nudes on Snapchat, dude? Pay for nudes.
Forehead. Go
That's
ahead, the guy
already
in
been
chat.
going on.
Yeah.
Someone in chat, go.
I had a question.
Yep.
Alright, Destiny. What's up?
Nothing much, dude.
Alright, well, I had a friend, and he was talking to me the other day about going to the bathroom, and...
A friend that what the other day about going to the bathroom?
He was talking to me about going to the bathroom, and what he does, his procedure, when he goes to wipe, and he told me, like, basically, he just stands up when he goes to wipe, and I'm like, okay, this is very normal, I do the
This is
same
so
thing.
retarded. Can you next question?
And then...
I got a question.
Yeah.
That shit gets you muted.
Sure. So what do you think of the use of like Adderall and Vyvanse and everything else like that in professional gaming? And do you think it's something that should be removed or like, or how do you say, like looked at, or is it like an advantage, unnecessary? Like, is it an advantage, and is it something that should be regulated, kind of like how professional, like NFL and
Well, yeah, you probably shouldn't be popping drugs for a competitive advantage. Yeah, that's probably not a good thing.
But do you think it's a problem as someone who is like in the gaming industry, like
someone that has like a prescription for him?
Well, like not necessarily outside like that, because I know back when I competed that in Halo, like if someone had a prescription, they would share right at competitions.
Oh yeah, I mean if it's bad,
that's
yeah, you shouldn't do that probably, right?
But I'm more or less. Do you think something needs to be done about it, or
well, is it a big? Are there a lot of people that are abusing it right now? Because
I guarantee you, I could get like anybody. You can coach anybody into getting a prescription for Adderall for like these like for gaming or whatever. You could get them it too. That's like an issue.
Psychiatrists don't get paid to not prescribe you.
Well, a psychiatrist is probably not gonna like prescribe you like if you're just in there like asking for it, right? You have to meet the criteria, but you can definitely meet the criteria if you.
Yeah, that's my point. I think it's pretty loose criteria for adults.
The time of like Adderall and stuff being pushed by psychiatrists in like meaningful ways isn't really quite as prevalent.
It's kind of like this. It's kind of like this with fights. Just to add on to this, so like in the UFC, it's like no drugs, don't do it. It's just like natural. And then there's also like different fighting sections where they don't give a fuck what you do. If you want to roid yourself out and be the best you can be, that's fine.
Well, yeah, but if you want to be in the biggest ones, usually the biggest ones are all natty, right? Like NFL is supposed to be that. And...
Yeah.
But not if you have the disorder, right? Like if you have like ADHD and you're prescribed Adderall and you pop for amphetamines in like the NFL, I don't think like that's a...
Correct. Like, you'll be fine. Yeah, no. But I don't think you need... I'm not sure. I'm not sure about ADHD.
Even know if they even let you do it.
They might not because... Yeah.
Because it's like it's not difficult to get that prescription.
Yeah, obviously no one in professional sports is natty. Yeah. As natty as they ask you to be. Yeah.
All right, Vivian, you had a question?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask Stephen. Do you think doxing is ever justified, like outside of some situation where, like, where you could potentially be like saving somebody's life or preventing them doing serious harm to another person by doxing?
Fuck yeah, dude. If some dude's a fucking piece of shit, you dox the fuck out of that motherfucker. I mean, what do you mean? But when you ask about justification, you're asking about a person's personal moral systems, and I mean, depending on how you set up, you can justify a lot of things. For me personally, if a guy fucks with me sufficiently enough, yeah, dox the fuck out of him. I don't give a
fuck. Do you think that people... Do you think that anonymity should like continue to be something online? And if not, can you give like good reasons as why you think everybody should have like a set like
probably
social security number or whatever?
Who's the edgy quote? Give a man a mask and he'll speak the truth. I mean, being
Edward Snowden.
What? No, I don't think that was.
Do you think the benefits outweigh like the negative?
Well, the negative is just dealt with by a minority of people like us. I mean.
So, like, you think it's like an equal response? Like, if somebody's a dick to you online, like, you can dox them and potentially put them and their like family at risk.
I mean, I don't think somebody just being a dick necessarily justifies.
But like the kid Jimmy or whatever.
But like if I knew like some of those Kiwi Farms kids, hell yeah, I would fucking do it in a heartbeat if I had the means to. Yeah, if I cared enough to.
Sorry, Kiwi Farms kids.
I
Just
agree with
don't-
people that
don't
like
forget about it.
get the FBI and shit called to my house because they're so ass pained about my shit.
Arjax, you had a question? I don't want to talk about QE.
Well, wait, was she done or?
I don't know.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
The fuck?
I'm good. Carry on. It's fine.
Okay, yeah, no, I mean, like in general,
Keep
like I
going.
don't think you should just like dox people for being like mean. That's
Mean.
obviously really fucked up. But I
I
mean,
know,
like,
I mean, like if you disagree with their like political
no, that's like
opinions, for
no,
example,
fuck,
and
that's
all that sort of shit.
no, that's really fucked up.
But if they're fucking with your livelihood,
Yeah, if they're like going hard and they're trying to like dox you or fuck your life up or some shit, then I say yeah, fucking go hard. But yeah, so yeah, okay, okay.
I've got a question. You said you were at a like a low recently in your life. How are you doing now?
Doing great, buddy. I think I am. Comes and goes, but I'm doing okay.
So you were depressed. I fucking knew it.
no, just being at a low doesn't mean you're depressed. You fucking dumbass.
Damn, Mooten, holy shit, dude.
Okay.
Mooten, are you depressed?
Yeah.
All right, you had another question, Pramela?
Oh yeah. I just one more before I leave. This is a bit more of a lighthearted one. You talked about Ben Shapiro before, and I was just curious if you're like familiar or if you've read his best-selling novel, his fiction novel, True Allegiance,
No,
about
but
a
Are you like are you a Chapo fan or some shit or?
yeah, I've yeah.
It's where they read excerpts and shit. I mean, I think
Yeah.
I've seen the clips. No, I
Fucking
haven't.
some soldier versus a gang of race gangsters.
Yeah, it sounds like a fucking wet dream, like Gran Torino shit or whatever.
I'll see if I can get you a copy. I'd pay for that content.
Listen, if I'm gonna read shit, I'm not gonna waste my time reading shit that Ben Shapiro wrote. Okay, I have to.
Gotcha.
Okay.
All right, see you around.
Yeah, see you, buddy.
Maro had a question next. He's got a good haircut.
Hey, I just want to ask two quick questions. I'm in my car, so if I sound like cancer, I apologize. First question is, do you think that the culture surrounding certain content, so for example, like the weeb community for anime, do you think that like disliking that type of culture is a criticism of that content?
Disliking that kind of culture is what?
Do you think that disliking that kind of culture is like a legitimate criticism of that content? So say, for example, Dragon Ball Z fans, say for example that you think they're way too weeby and cancer. Is that a legitimate criticism of the content or just the culture surrounding?
What do you mean by legitimate criticism?
If you hate the weebs for all of the shit that they do, is it a legitimate criticism of the content, or do you just hate the weebs?
No,
right?
I understand. I just need to know what legitimate criticism is. Because, for instance, let's say somebody says, I don't like anime, and I say, well, why not? Like, well, I don't like the fan base. I mean, if that's the reason we're not liking it, you don't need to justify your own preferences like that. Now, if you're saying, does it serve as like an effective or objective critique of the actual shit itself? I mean, I would say no, of course not.
Okay, yeah, that was more what I was
Okay, yeah, gotcha.
And then the other question was about, I don't know if Stanlidge, I don't know if you asked it earlier on stream or not. The question about do you personally think that for your own benefit to the stream that it's almost better to lie about certain positions like abortion and like veganism?
He did ask.
Yeah, in the past,
Oh, you did that?
yeah, for
Okay,
a brief moment in time, I thought that the answer to this was yes, but then I realized I don't care that much, so fuck it, I'm not gonna lie about that shit.
Well, and not lying opens it up to conversation, right? Which is like pretty important too.
Not really. People in these positions tend to get super ass.
Not really.
I got permabanned from Reset Era so quickly. Holy shit.
Alright, Steven, I got a question for you, buddy.
Oh no. Oh yeah. Hold on one second. There's like a big forum for like kind of like social justice people. And then I had like, I think there was like a JonTron post. There's some post that showed up and I was like literally like their fucking hero. And I came by and everybody was like, oh, you're the coolest dude ever. Like, oh, we love you. And it's like, oh, okay. And then like another thread popped up when I got banned for my, for the last thing I got banned for. And people were like, I don't understand how Destiny could do this. Like, I thought Destiny loves minorities and shit. And I popped up and I made the big post about how like, you know, like, hey, in case you're a fan of mine or in case you are linking to get into my content, like these are my positions. Like,
oh, I remember
don't,
that
yeah, I don't intrinsically care about any of this. And then I got like permabanned. They're like, don't fucking come here and justify your racism and homophobia. It's like, oh, okay, I guess. Yeah. Okay, sorry. Go, other dude.
I think.
Oh, if somebody else first, I don't know.
No, you're good.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, buddy.
As long as your name's not the one guy.
And we got Stan, and then we got kind of a special guest.
So, I asked this question before, and people in the community were kind of wish-washy on it, and it seems like it's about 50-50. But anyways, let's say there's it's a girl and a guy, right? And they've been on a few dates. And for example, right, they're gonna go out, and like the dating question, right, was going out together, wearing pajamas and eating donuts, right? Do you think it's really fucking weird for the girl to ask the guy to bring over a sweater for her to wear?
No, I mean, that sounds like they're getting into dating.
Why would it be weird?
I don't know. Some people took up the like, I don't agree with them, but they took up the stance where it's like, well, why is she asking me to bring over my clothes for her to wear? That's fucking weird.
Sounds like some MGTOW shit.
The cops are on the way right now to get you, dude.
I know,
weird
I'm
you
sorry.
fucking are.
Sure. So for the non-virgins in the audience that will one day get to this stage in their lives, there's a lot of different things that we associate with other people. One thing that you'll kind of learn growing up is that people taste and smell differently from one another. And having... Why are these guys here? Oh my fucking god.
Run, Destiny, run. You
Wait,
died.
don't even fuck. I was one of the people who thought that was weird. I thought the question was like, it's a first date and you've never met this chick.
But
and
it
she
wasn't
wants
a first
to bring
date.
Why the
sweater.
fuck does it matter either way? Just bring him a sweater.
No, why first date? That would be
Because if you don't know
weird.
them, like bringing an article of your clothing can be kind of weird.
No, the
Like, I don't know.
specific question that he had asked previously too was they were asking them to bring the sweater because they liked the way it looked and wanted to wear their clothes.
If I go to sleep, my shit's not gonna despawn, guys, will it? I thought you guys said that if you slept, these guys stopped fucking appearing.
Which
Oh, wait. So there was like other shit about it.
which is a totally different
That's
level
totally
of weird, right?
different.
Like,
Yeah,
No,
I mean,
hold on,
that's
hold on,
different, yeah.
You're kind of straw manning me.
Okay, stop. Okay, I'm assuming that the people have gone on multiple dates. It's not like literally the first fucking date, correct? Okay, correct. So we're not any kind of like, hey, like,
Yeah, then
come
that's not
tomorrow to the
weird.
restaurant. Okay. So
Yeah,
yeah,
like-
so people have different smells and tastes, and sometimes when you have articles of clothing from other people, the clothing will smell like them, and some people like to hold on to stuff like that because it like reminds you of the person. That's it. It's not that complicated.
Is she
That's
asking to
fine.
wear it or to like
Chicks,
keep it? I'm sorry.
Chicks like literally do that all the time.
Oh,
Fuck.
okay, sure.
And then sometimes having a piece of clothing for somebody can be a nice reminder, a sentimental thing or whatever, right? Okay.
Yeah. All right, Sam, did you want to ask a question?
Yeah, I was wondering, when you talk about egoism, sometimes it seems like you're treating it as a neutral position that like doesn't make any moral assumptions or normative claims, while other moral positions do, which seems kind of like a moral objectivist viewpoint. I was wondering how would you justify like valuing your own preferences over someone else's, or like not even valuing your own preferences?
I don't think you can justify that. So I'm like a descriptive egoist. So like I think I can speak about people's desires in a general sense, but I can't compel somebody, or I can't rather say that we ought to follow our specific desires. I don't think I can make that statement. So I wouldn't be like an ethical egoist or whatever.
I feel like that does presume some really, really weak normative claim, though.
No, not at all.
Its base.
I don't think so.
I mean, so you can self-observe that you have some tendencies, but then the undertaking that action, right, has some built-in normative claim.
Yeah,
that
but
one
I
should
would never say that you
kowtow
ought,
one's
that it's
desires.
virtuous to undertake those things, or that somebody ought to, any more than somebody
Okay.
ought to do anything else. Yeah.
All I'm saying is like by allowing yourself to kowtow to like your desires, right? There is some built-in assumption there that you should, right?
No, I don't
that
think
it's
so at
fine
all.
for you
No,
to do
no,
so.
I don't think so at all. There's a huge difference between making a descriptive claim versus making an ought to, a normative claim. If I descriptively observe that a rock placed at the top of a hill will roll down, I don't think that necessarily means I'm saying that rock ought to roll down the hill. Much the same way that I can make a descriptive claim that humans will try to satisfy their desires in certain ways. It doesn't mean I'm saying they ought to satisfy their desires in certain ways. Those are two very, very
Yeah, but
different claims.
if you were to undertake that action, right, you are making some very, very base level weak normative claim that like not self-describing that you would like to, or this would satisfy some need, right? But then undertaking that claim means it's fine for me to do so, right?
Yes. I mean, I don't.
I'm not. It's not a strong normative. It's fine.
Okay.
Zexizi, you're on, buddy. this is kind of a special guest. Like this is another leftist YouTuber, smaller leftist YouTuber who wanted to come on and kind of chit chat.
God damn it.
Come on, dude.
All right, hit me up. What do we got?
Sex easy.
You scared him away. He's gone now forever.
No, he's here.
Hello?
Hey.
Yeah, you're on, buddy.
Hey, Discord is fucking with my mic. Would you mind if I quickly restarted it?
Yeah, sure. I'll put you back in.
Alright.
I was about to say, how does that guy make YouTube videos with that mic?
he doesn't.
I got one. Destiny, like, do you have any plans, or have you thought about, as far as like, since you're a gun owner, about like an age to expose Nathan to guns, or like as far as educating, or like, you know,
He's
showing
probably
how
at
to
the
use
age.
or anything?
Yeah, he's probably at the age now where I should probably take him to the range and have him shoot at least like a.
How old is he right
22.
now? 8, 7?
7.
Dude, you could buy him like a little cricket, like a little 22 LR bolt action.
No.
So you like the idea of basically to like getting that hands-on exposure to younger
Yeah,
age.
for sure. To demystify the experience so that he doesn't find a gun at some point either in his friend's house or, God forbid, one of mine, although that shouldn't be possible. And then like, oh, look, it's so cool. Oh, let me practice shooting you in the face. Oh, and then they fucking kill each other because they're dumb fucking kids.
And then, like, on top of that, we talk about this a bunch in the debate room. It's come up, like, a ton of times.
Hey, alright, so this is the most annoying shit in the world because I got this beautiful XLR mic that Discord refuses to pick up, so we're going with the webcam.
Okay, he's asking a question.
Oh, yeah, wait.
It's easy.
Oh, yeah,
Just
this guy just reconnected. Yeah, okay. Okay, yeah, finish every question and I'll talk to you. Yeah, no,
do you
it's fine.
think, do you think, for example, as far as like the storage aspect of fire, like I know you've talked about it a little bit as far as like you know, proper storage and everything, but if someone like has a truck gun that they leave like a Glock in a glove compartment, and then someone breaks in and takes that gun, like do you think that person should be penalized for basically like having a real lacking as far as the securing of the firearm?
I don't think so. Not if somebody's like breaking into shit to get something. Like if I literally were to go out and leave my fucking Mosin in the street and a kid picks up and kills somebody, then maybe yeah, I could have some culpability. But like if somebody were to like steal my fucking car or some shit, and then like go and get in an accident with it, like I don't want responsibility for that.
Yeah, I don't even mean in the sense of like you know, as far as that, and like that there is like a standard of storage, right? And like there's probably a reasonable expectation of like, you know, people smashing windows and like going through cars if you're going to keep something that's that dangerous, and like in the same way that if you left a 12 gauge shotgun on your like kitchen table with the screen door locked, you know, and like a salesman comes up and like breaks into your house by just like opening the door and walks off with it, like this is a failing on
I mean,
your security.
I don't know if I agree with that. I have to think about that more. I mean, if somebody's literally going through the effort of like breaking into my shit to steal my shit, like I don't know in my own home if I have an obligation to store things a certain way with the assumption that an intruder will break into my house. Now, I believe I have responsibilities with Nathan living here for how I store my gun, so I keep it locked up and the key separate at all times. But if Nathan wasn't here, I didn't have Nathan, then I have some obligation to society to keep my possessions a certain way inside my home in case somebody breaks in and misuses it. I'm not sure if I agree with that. I'd have to think about that more. I'm not going to immediately say I totally disagree with it. I very much disagree with it, but maybe I'll reflect on it a little more and try to think of a better answer. But yeah, I'm uncomfortable with the idea that I need to be held responsible for somebody breaking into my shit and stealing it.
The premise was essentially that like if the problem of society is illegally possessed firearms, what can we do to mitigate like the access to the
sure.
firearms?
I don't think breaking into people's houses and stealing them is how people get them, though, right? There's like a ton of.
This is about mitigation of potential harm, right?
Yeah, sure.
All right, Zex, you want to go?
Yeah.
Hey, yeah, sorry about all that.
Yeah, no problem.
But hey, yeah, so I just kind of wanted to ask. So yeah, I'm a leftist YouTuber, so oh, you
hold on.
Okay, sorry, yeah, hold on. Wait, what do you need? No, you haven't even been Dying Light.
Nathan's gonna tell him to avoid this socialist conversation right now, okay?
Stanley, you're so
Nathan's
funny.
warning us that. Oh, fuck off, dude.
Good job, you got him. Okay. All right, what do we got now?
All right, we
Okay.
good? Alright. Yeah. So I'm a leftist YouTuber. I'm a Marxist, and I've heard some of the stuff you said about Marxism before, mainly kind of about how you don't think there's like a need for it today, or we don't have to worry about a lot of the kind of capitalism versus communism kind of stuff. Is that vaguely right?
I don't know if I'd say if there's a need for it. I mean, it's possible there is. I just don't ever see it being a realistic possibility in U.S. politics that happens.
All right. Well, what I kind of wanted to propose to you was if you could be convinced that liberalism and more fundamentally capitalism was incapable of ridding society of fascism, would you consider more extreme alternatives to prevent it coming to power, namely communism?
No, I'd probably be more concerned with just leaving the country. because I really don't see. Are you American?
No, I'm British.
Oh, okay. I don't know if it's. Wait, hold on 1 second.
Beat his ass.
Hey, Mooten, how's it going, buddy?
You know me, I'm well.
If you talk to Americans about communism or socialism, like like it's literally the same thing as talking to somebody about like fucking Nazism. Like it's literally on that level.
Well, maybe about 10 years ago, but Bernie Sanders has made a huge difference.
For young people, yes, but for the people that actually vote, no. Communism and socialism is literally fucking, even for some younger people, look at like the fucking Trumples of the world and shit, like, communism, that thing killed 100 million fucking people, didn't it? People are, and then
Wait, aren't they coming around because they want to be Putin's friend now, though? Like,
no,
is it your mom?
No, they just, no. It's possible that maybe there are solutions that are provided for with socialism or communism or whatever, but in American society, I really don't see us going in that direction at all.
Well, I feel like that's a bit besides the point, though, because I'm not trying to talk about, will people accept communism? I'm more talking about, what do you think of the proposal that it's really only communism that can probably prevent fascism? And I suppose if we do live in such a state where people will never, ever become convinced of far left ideas, then we're essentially condemned to fascism, is kind of what almost I'm saying.
I don't know if fuck, America's lasted for 250 years almost without becoming fascist. I mean, I think it's possible to stave it off, but it's like...
I feel that's a bit simplistic.
What do you mean by that?
Well, fascism is a very specific thing. It has had, obviously, far-right currents in the past and does today, growingly. The reasons why it may not have... I mean, the general Marxist idea is that it's capitalism itself that spawns fascism, but capitalism existed for hundreds of years as a whole without any kind of instances of fascism. It's only when very specific social context emerged that fascism was able to become a thing at all. So I feel like it just saying, oh, well, we've lasted so long without fascism coming to power anyway, doesn't mean that it never will.
Yeah, I'm just saying that I think that if liberalism can exist in this country at least for 250 years without it turning fascist, it seems like it's possible to keep that from happening. It's like a really, and also I don't know if I necessarily believe that things like communism or socialism would delay or prevent fascism from ever cropping up. I just don't have the background to really know that.
Of course, yeah.
I'm just not sure. The hard thing, the reason why, I don't know how much you've heard of my conversation, the reason why I don't like debating lefty stuff is because like it's very hard to talk about a theoretical versus an actual physical, because when I have to defend capitalism, I have to defend it with all of its messy real life human flaws and implementations, and then I have to put that up against like theories of communism or socialism that can be very idealized, and then we can only kind of speak in conjecture about possible problems that you can always have an address for, right? Because like if I were to put up my perfect theory of capitalism against like a perfect theory of communism, I think both of them would be perfect, it would seem, depending on what you're valuing, I guess. But defending like the real life implementation of anything against a theory seems very fucking hard to do,
Well, here's the thing. That's kind of why I chose this question, because I figured it would actually be moving away from talking about the specifics of what communism might be like.
Sure.
I'm more trying to... I thought I'd take something a bit more current and tangible, talking about the growth of fascism in society and liberalism's problems of dealing with it. And really, any advantages that communism has over liberalism of dealing it is not anything kind of inherent to communist society, but more of communism's place as a movement within liberal society. So I do feel like it's more tangible and less kind of esoteric. And also, just to say, you know, I think communists are more than happy to strictly debate the troubles of capitalism as well. You know, if you ever want to delve into the fucking
Well, yeah, I mean, I can think of a
anything
million
like that,
problems
I mean,
with
I'm all down,
capitalism.
so-
Yeah, of course. I'm just saying that like, I don't even know what I'm saying. Wait, what was I responding to? That the communists would talk about the problems with capitalism. I mean, yeah, I can point out like a million problems with capitalism, but I can't point out any problems with communism because in theory it would be perfect, right?
I mean, you can't really say. I mean, that's the thing.
Yeah, that's the thing. That is the thing, right?
No, but here's the thing. I was saying, well, let's not even talk about that at all then, if that's not what you're interested in doing, and that's fair enough.
I guess like when I look
Because
at
there
like
are so many other things to discuss.
Sure. When I look at fascism, the fascism's rise today in the United States, honestly, and maybe I might be too one-dimensional the way that I view this. Honestly, like a lot of these questions come down to like basic intelligence for me. Like when I look at conservatives and the problems with Republicans today, I don't really think of it in terms of like capitalism, socialism, communism, like forms of economic forms or like governmental forms. It seems to me to just usually be like an education problem. Like conservatives and Republicans, I don't think they have these intrinsic desires for fascism. Maybe. I think that most of them are just really fucking stupid. And I feel like addressing things like, I don't even know what's possible at this point, but things like education, like getting people to value critical thinking or intelligence more, I feel like would lead people away from these types of paths. That might be too idealistic.
I very much disagree with this for two reasons.
Sure.
Firstly, Richard Spencer himself...
Who's typing?
Who's typing? Jesus. Richard Spencer himself has like a master's. You know, a lot of these modern alt-right and even the historic Nazis, they were very well-educated people and well-standing people in society. You know, obviously poverty can kind of cause more extremism and through that and being uneducated there can lead people to the extreme far right. But just saying that education alone can quell this is just historically inaccurate.
Well, so like firstly,
and furthermore, sorry, I just one more point. To go with the Marxist kind of conception of how this forms, it's actually not to do with people's education at all, but rather it's to do with the conditions of society at the time. And when society starts facing problems, you know, from capitalism's antagonisms and economic crises start happening, that naturally pushes people to both the far left and the far right, regardless of, you know, again, their education or even to some extent their wealth as well. Obviously, you know, the poorer people will have more of an extreme swing, but nonetheless. Anyway, sorry, say what you can say.
Yeah, so the first thing is, I mean, of course, there are some educated fascists. I mean, that's obviously true. But I feel like most people in general, so like when I argue with people that seem to push in fascist directions, a lot of them don't realize it, or a lot of them feel justified because of a lack of intelligence. So for instance, like some fascist ideas I think can be justified if you believe the world exists in a current way. This is where I pull the low intelligence thing out. So like if I look at the average like low IQ, low intelligent Trump supporter, right? And I ask a person like, and I try to think like, why the fuck is this person okay with Trump being literally fucking fascist? Well, it's because they unironically believe things like, for instance, that the deep state exists. So these people think that Obama and Hillary Clinton, like behind some closed door, are secretly manipulating the NSA, the FBI, the State Department, the Department of Justice. Like all of these things are being like unilaterally controlled by one party. And like if you're stupid enough to actually believe this, I mean, having like a dictator-esque character like Trump is probably preferable. Like if I believed that, I would probably be in favor of fascism. Like I would rather, you know, a suave, intelligent businessman like Trump come in and fix this stuff. If there's really this group of like child raping, Pizzagating, QAnon, world destroying, you know, World War III causing Jewish masterminds that are trying to take away, right? This is why I kind of like, I feel like I point it to like an intelligence thing. Like if I'm arguing with somebody that unironically thinks that Hillary Clinton unilaterally sold off 1/5 of our uranium reserves to fucking Russia, I mean, this person is so fucking stupid that I could totally understand them being in favor of fascism, you know?
Bonus meme type 1
Yeah, well,
if you think kebab is going to win type 0.
Type of position, but
If you think
at the same time,
McChicken
a lot
is
of
going to
these
win
people
bonus
simply
meme.
don't care about the facts, and they simply use a lot of this as excuses for their predetermined views. I mean, take race realism, for example. Even if we take that to be true, which it is obviously not, the actual implications of it is that, you know, some people of certain races have slightly lower IQs. They're then implications of that, or what they want to do about that, is just so disproportionate to the actual quote-unquote scientific claims they're trying to make, that it becomes very clear that this whole charade of science is just an excuse to further their hateful views. And also, obviously, I wouldn't put you quite on the same level as him, but the this whole idea that it's all just down to kind of how educated people are and how rational they are. You take it to its logical conclusion, and you're almost in the same boat as Sargon of Akkad, where you're saying, oh, well, society is just about everybody coming around in a table and rationally discussing what the best way to deal with things is. But life just isn't, unfortunately, that simple.
Yeah, no, I agree with what you're saying in terms of, like, some people will use, like, it's definitely true. There are people that will play around with fact because they don't give a fuck at all about it. I definitely agree with that. But the thing is that, like, people, the problem, it seems, is that in society today, or maybe it's the fucking human condition, and you're right, you know, and I'm pushed more and more in that direction, that maybe people are just ill-equipped to deal with these things. But it seems to me that the reason why these people succeed is because people aren't capable of recognizing bad faith actors, right? And maybe I'm being too reductionist to go back to intelligence, but for instance, there are a lot of people, say Trump supporters, that will say things like, oh, well, you know, Fox News might be bad, but, you know, it's just like CNN. And it's like, really? You're going to put Sean Hannity on the same level as, like, the Washington Post or CNN? Like, you're really that fucking stupid? Like, honestly? Like, and I don't know, maybe it's too simplistic for me to analyze it all in terms of, like, is this person a fucking moron, or is this person somewhat intelligent? Like,
I really
I don't know.
hope
That's
Steven
just
and Nathan share father-son farts together.
Maybe I would have to just lose, like, more hope in humanity, or become more cynical. But, like, the idea that I need to because, like, I feel personally like I would. This is kind of arrogant to say, but, like, I feel like I would be impervious. A person like me would be impervious to a lot of fascist claims, because I'm not a total fucking idiot. Because I'm not going to sit here and scream fucking fake news at everything that, you know, insults something that I like, or I'm incapable of being critical of media, you know, beyond saying that every single thing is equally fake, or some dumb shit like that. But that's because I can exercise, like, a basic degree of critical thinking, which I notice a lot of Trumples that I argue against are fucking incapable of doing. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so you know what, I just lost my train of.
How about, like, maybe to, like, for this question, you said that there are conditions of society that arise from capitalism that necessarily lead to fascism. What are some of those conditions, I guess, that you think?
Yeah, so, well, capitalism have these kind of inherent antagonisms. To name a few, it would be kind of, you know, boom and bust cycles. When there's economic decline, that obviously causes a lot of stress in society, and yeah, I'm sure I don't need to explain why that's bad. But then also, capitalism has a lot of kind of inherent class tensions, not only just between, like, the obvious ones of, like, a wealth gap, but also the struggle for in work conditions and blah blah blah. But then there's also, on top of that, even, like, race tension. And then as we see in the modern day, we've got ridiculous debates spawning over the most insignificant of things, such as transgender bathrooms, which obviously it's not about the transgender bathrooms. It's you know, indicating a much more deep set issue. But and then on top of that, all you've got the general alienation caused by capitalism, and alienation is unfortunately a very vague term which has several different meanings, all of which apply in their own ways. But you know, so you've got all of these kind of traits of capitalism which again will push people to further extremes during times of crisis, as just always happens in society naturally. But then will also be abused by, you know, the far right as well. I mean, race tensions often are only as strong as they are because it's in a lot of you know, rich people's interests for people to blame immigrants rather than corporations for, you know, whatever it is, crumbling public services or whatever like that. I mean, obviously these are very simplistic examples. It gets ridiculously more nuanced. There's a lot of academic research into it. But that's just to kind of give you a vague indication of what I'm referring to when I talk about this. And what's most important, of course, is that these tensions always arise during these cycles of capitalism brought about by market forces. You know, during economic bust periods, which of course we've recently been in with 2008, and seem yet to properly recover from. So that that should give a general idea, right?
Yeah, I guess I just, like, Fuck. It's so hard to like because like the thing that I'm going to say, that my counter to you, anytime you bring up, and this might honestly, it might just be that I'm just so hopelessly indoctrinated with capitalism that I'm not capable of looking at things through another paradigm. But like anytime you're going to present me a problem with capitalism, I'm going to offer you a solution that exists within capitalism. So for instance, if you say alienation is a big problem with capitalism, I might say something like, well, you know, you can find forms of you can find forms of or like alienation or class warfare, like you can find forms of fulfillment or whatnot that aren't necessarily tied to economics, like say with religion or community building or something like that, right? And then you might offer a counter, well, like that won't work in the real world or whatever, and then we're kind of stuck in this, like I have to take capitalism with all of its real world flaws and then compare it to like an idealized theory that I can't really criticize at all, you know?
Well, actually, it's funny you mentioned that, because one of the points brought about by alienation is that it actually crumbles all of these cultural and religious things that would otherwise occupy people's lives with the forces of capital. But I mean, to be honest, you can always take these individual points and propose various solutions. But you know, let's take the big one and talk about, you know, boom and bust cycles, market forces causing, you know, higher wealth gaps, which in turn causes tensions, and in general causing harder living conditions for people. If we go to the labor theory of value, we can see that these are simply things that are inherent to market and market societies and societies based on commodity production. And unfortunately, the only solution to that is abolishing commodity production and markets.
Yeah, but like that's to do that, to fundamentally change the way that people their relationship with an economy. I don't know. The thing is that I don't know what other far-reaching impacts that could have with humans in general. That maybe in some type of, so you're talking about things like planned economies, basically, right?
Not necessarily as such. I mean, I'm not, you know, like a Stalinist or something like that.
Okay. Well, like, say, like the problem is that like there might be ways that people will interact with other socialist or communist economies that in the long term produce other really bad impacts. But I
mean, of course, you know, it's not perfect.
Yeah, I just can't.
There are its own problems. But what it is saying is that there are these problems under capitalism, and these are the natural remedies to them. You know, these contradictions of capitalism, these are simply the resolutions to the contradictions. And as for the specifics of those contradictions, well, there's this little well-known book called Capital you may have heard of that outlines them. But yeah, it's so when you want to get talking about this, it's when you really start getting into the depths of Marxist theory, when there is just so much philosophy and research and academic debate over the last few hundred years that is talking all around this kind of stuff. So it's an incredibly, you know, deep field to get into, and then yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it is. It's just like, again, like fuck, it's just so fucking hard to argue against like theory. Like even capitalism, which I would argue has been pretty well explored, is still like, I don't want to say like highly theoretical, but all of our economic models are still like pretty theoretical and get, you know, disputed all the time. And there's stuff that we even still don't necessarily understand that you would think that like, well, we've done capitalism for so long, you know, we should obviously know, like here's a really easy question. How does immigration impact labor markets? You know, it seems like a pretty straightforward question. You know, like if you flood a labor market with a lot of labor, you know, it's going to fuck everything up, but it doesn't actually play out that way. And we like, even for basic questions, it seems like they're so fucking hard to answer that it's just so hard for me to believe that you could propose a solution that is an entirely different model of government and economics. Like that's going to have its whole own set of problems, some of which probably haven't even been theorized yet, just when the actual implementation of that occurs. That I don't know, it just seems more realistic for me to like patch the current system than to abandon it in favor of a totally different one.
Okay,
yeah.
I see where you're coming from with this now. And to be honest, I probably should have realized it a while ago, but you know, only talking to other leftists, it makes me forget how regular people think. So here's the thing. Marxism, at the very least, I can't speak for anarchism or general leftists, but definitely Marxism doesn't actually try to propose any solutions at all. Rather, what the core of Marxism is an analysis of capitalist society, a material, empirical analysis of what actually exists, rather than, say, with a lot of neoliberal or, say, even anarcho-capitalist analyses, which are like, oh, well, here's an ideal version of our system, and here are a bunch of reasons why it's not being realized in society. So Marxism is an empirical analysis of capitalism that simply maps out trends over time, makes predictions based on the cold hard facts of what it actually is. And then that's all there is to it. It's very scientific in that
Yeah, I
manner.
understand, but when
and
you-
one of
Oh, go
one of
ahead.
these predictions is that capitalism will collapse in on itself, and of course, it's a whole other discussion talking about, oh well, why hasn't it, blah blah blah. But just for the sake of argument, let's set that to the side. So one of these, so a lot of them are things like increased capital accumulation, falling rate of profit. These are things that we have empirically seen in today. And then of course there's capitalism collapsing in on itself. But here's the thing as well: Marx never actually really wrote too much about socialism at all. This is quite well known. He didn't put out a whole step-by-step guide of how it's going to work, because again, he wasn't trying to give some alternate solution. What he was saying is it will be the exact same, or not the exact same, but a similar thing of what happened when feudalism went to capitalism, in that the peasants didn't know what they were doing when they were revolting against their lords was capitalism. They were doing what made sense based on the material conditions of the time. And it will be a similar thing with socialism and capitalism, in that Marx never spoke about the specifics of socialism because he always believed that it would be simply the specifics weren't important, is his point. He was only trying to make predictions about very, very general claims about wider society and the global mode of production. The specifics will, as they have always been through history, be sorted out by the people carrying them out at the time. And it's not the position of Marxism to try and talk about what they will be and how good or bad they will be. It's simply saying that this is just the direction that capitalism must go to, unless, of course, it leaves us in a state of pure barbarism instead. The phrase socialism or barbarism. So, I mean, that's like not a very well-known point about Marxism that I find from a lot of people. It's considered like just any other political ideology, where it's like, well, here's a list of things that I think will fix things and make everything perfect. But it's not. It's fundamentally just an analysis of the society we live in today, and then socialism is just a prediction based off of that.
I understand that, but when you were in here, you're talking about how communism or socialism would be a solution to some of the problems that exist under capitalism, right? That was...
Well, mainly due to capitalism not existing anymore. It's more just saying these things are caused by capitalism. When capitalism won't exist, then these problems won't exist.
Oh, sure. Okay, yeah, I mean, that might... Yeah, I mean, I would probably agree with most of that. Things like, well, I don't know if I could necessarily say that. I mean, like, class divide, for instance, is probably an intrinsic feature of capitalism, but if capitalism disappears, I'm sure there are other forms of government, like feudalism or whatever, that could also exhibit
Well, feudalism was class-based as well, but...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
that's what I'm saying. Feudal, like something else could replace it that would also be
variations of,
class-based. That's not capitalism.
Yeah. Well, the whole point of socialism is meant to be, since primitive times, the first instance of classless society. Everything before that was some form of class. And that's not to say there won't be any kind of authority or people won't have more respect than others, but the actual idea of one group of people owning material, tools, and means of production, while other group of people have to work under their employment or as a serf or whatever it is, won't exist anymore. They will be, communally owned. And that's not to say, obviously, just for anyone wondering, that's not to say your toothbrush or the fucking communally owned dildo or whatever. Just the actual means of production.
Capital.
Of
Yeah.
I'd imagine you definitely know that.
Yeah. The difference between personal property and private property is a distinction a lot of people don't make. Yeah. The stealing your toothbrush meme.
I think the contention that like socialism can't be attacked on its base premises is probably wrong. Like, I think there's a lot of things about the base kind of assumptions that that a lot of socialist doctrine has that you can address directly, right? I mean, the first thing you address is like boom bust cycles are inherently a capitalistic problem. I'd say they're probably inherently a problem of production, right? Anytime you have production, you're going to hit boom bust cycles.
Well, isn't that the whole point of a planned economy, where you would avoid like having production based on supply and demand?
So even planned economies do it, right? Planned economies can exacerbate boom bust cycles worse than free markets can.
I mean, capitalist economies can very much have planned economies. I mean, it happened in World War II with Britain, for example. So that's not an intrinsic feature of socialism. But if you want to start talking about that, then we're talking about Marx's Capital. We're talking about his theory of labor theory of value and all of that stuff, which again I feel like is a separate conversation, which I am always at all times of the day very happy to dive into. But it is a very meaty, hefty thing that needs to be treated with proper, I suppose, gravity. But I also kind of want to say, I mean, one of the things about boom and bust cycles, you say it's inherent to production. Well, it is kind of very inherent to capitalism, because I mean, crises in feudalism was, oh, we don't have enough food, we're all going to starve. Crises under capitalism are, oh, we've produced so much that people simply do not have enough wages to buy it back from us, so the market is going to crash, and then people are going to starve. It's a crisis of overproduction for the first time in history. But at the same time, it's so amazing that capitalism even gives us the potential to produce too much than what we know to deal with. And that's kind of one of the, things of that the idea that under socialism, we'll have free food and whatever else is based off of. And when you recognize the fact that we produce, 17% more food per person than is actually needed in the world, then it's not actually that outlandish to propose, I'd say. And that's, if anyone's curious, that's an Oxfam statistic, if you want to go look that up. Might have got the exact percentage wrong, but yeah.
Okay.
Very cool.
We got a couple of random questions. If you guys are kind of,
if I could just say just one thing to finish off. Destiny, if you're ever up for another discussion like this sometime, I'm obviously more than happy to. But if you want to look into more the kind of like how people behave and the fascism kind of thing, I'd really start researching kind of the instances of historical fascism, which are very much similar today, and what happened there, especially in relation to the socialists of their time as well. And the kind of behaviors that people exhibited there. I think that will give you a good insight into how we can expect people and fascism today, because of course, the classic saying, those who don't learn from history, blah, blah, blah. So that would be something I recommend. And again, always good to just read Marx directly if you're ever wondering about the whole theory of value type stuff. But that's me done. Thanks for allowing me to come on and talk about this as well.
Yeah, thanks for coming, buddy.
All right, Derry had a quick question about whether or not you'd ever consider doing yoga, especially if you move to LA.
Maybe.
It's a great way to meet cuties.
Yeah, bud.
Okay.
It's a meditative process which gives Destiny time to reflect.
Wow, I'll think about it.
Wowee.
Besides, it's very good for shroom trips as well.
Wow.
Oh, cool. And then Rocky Avalon had a question about the deep state. He says, can you ask Destiny why he believes the deep state to be such a ridiculous idea? People on both the right and the left believe in the deep state concept in one form or another.
That is definitely a false equivalency. It just doesn't make any sense. Like the problem is when you start inventing conspiracy theories, the problem is you start making like wildly inconsistent claims. So here's an example. The deep state ships in millions of immigrants to vote illegally in elections and tries hard to rig elections all over the countries or whatever so that blah 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 can win elections. Like, okay, well, if this is true, why the fuck did Hillary Clinton lose the election by like 40 or 50,000 well-placed votes? It would seem to me that a deep state that was capable of controlling the FBI, the NSA, all of our intelligence agencies, the State Department, everything, all these people, why couldn't they just fake like 40 or 50,000 like fucking votes? It wouldn't be that hard to do it. Or for instance, like the deep state is controlling people like Comey or the FBI to ham up all these false charges against people like Manafort or Gates or any other number of people that people think is all bullshit. Okay, well, if that's true, well, then why is Kavanaugh getting confirmed in 20 minutes, right? Because he's going to get confirmed. He's going to pass it. If the deep state is so fucking powerful, how the fuck is it that Republicans have governors all over the fucking United States, that the Republicans were able to control the House and the Senate for 6 years under Obama? How is it that, that Kavanaugh's going to get confirmed? Why couldn't the FBI make up fake charges against him like they make up fake charges? Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, you can either have this deep state that has infinite power and can control every fucking aspect of everything, or it's bullshit. Like, you can't have it both ways,
Bad Stats wants to come in here and fuck around about names. Bad Stats, go to debate 2.
Are you done with questions yet? Oh my god.
I mean, we're just doing live stuff.
AYAYA, I do not love
You can always leave. You can always leave, Mooten.
Ooh.
I can't.
We're talking?
Don't talk to my dad.
All right, Bad Stats, you want to talk about some shit?
I don't know. A guy person was just like, oh, people are talking about capital in the 21st century.
What?
Yeah, as Xizzy was giving you some kind of summarization.
Oh, okay. What did he say about it?
Okay. Go back and watch the VOD.
Wait, what?
Okay.
Yeah, I have a really inconsequential question. If nobody else is, were you about to say something?
Oh yeah, sure. I was gonna ask. This. Do you think they should put warnings on these mobile games because they're so addictive?
Why? What one are you
Like
playing?
as much as like gambling, almost, with like the roulettes and all this.
Maybe.
Other stuff.
Why are you playing mobile games now?
Oh yeah, I play too many of them. I play like 4 of them at a time, bud.
Damn, dude. Did you see that one I did yesterday? That
Yeah, I look pretty sick, but I don't like the whole eating your own people to power the people up. I don't like it. It feels so impartial.
Damn. Well.
They seem kind of like those auctions where like the 2 highest bidders pay out in a way, not
Hold
like
on, 1
super
second.
directly. But...
Freaking Nathan ruining our lives.
Holy Nathan.
Just kidding. Why is there someone outside of my house blasting music?
It's game day.
Don't know. Go
It's
ask
game
him.
day, dude.
I'm scared.
Hey, it's the deep state. They're coming for you, bud.
Dude, you're like a real life Zoomy.
All right, Scanlon had a question and Roach had a question. But I'll wait till Steven gets back.
Yeah, I'll go second. Mine is inconsequential, and it's about drugs again, so he might just tell me to fuck off.
He might do, yeah.
Weed, dude.
It's literally the most dull thing.
Okay, what's that?
You want to go first? Ed?
No, go first.
I was just going to ask. It's the most boring thing, and like, if you don't want to talk about drugs again, do tell me to fuck off. Have you ever tried or known anyone who's tried salvia? And what are your thoughts on it, if you have any?
I don't know anybody that's tried it, so I don't have any thoughts on it now.
Did Devin not?
I don't know if he did or didn't.
Who asked that?
What? Hello?
Yeah, who asked that?
Oh, sorry, that was me. Roach.
That was Roach. Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, go for it.
Alright, yo, Destiny. I sent you an email, but you didn't really give me a good response.
Fuck, what was your email?
It was about the science and norms culture being pushed, all that stuff.
Hold on, who's fucking typing? I'm getting triggered. I'm too tired for this. Please mute your shit if you're typing. Okay, sorry. Okay, go for it. What was your question?
Science is pushed by cultural norms and all that, right?
Oh, yeah.
So how would you combat this when people say that certain things are being pushed in that regard?
You don't. What do you mean? It is being pushed. Wait, what?
Okay, when people like say on any topic like race realism or transgenderism and stuff like that, where they're saying that's where culture is being pushed, so there's any science that is being done on these is irrelevant. How would you combat that?
Well, no. All science that's done is pushed by cultural norms. All sciences. I don't understand. What do you...
Yeah, how do you instill a trust in that science then?
I don't know. I mean, if you're trying to find science that isn't pushed by cultural norms, there's no such science that exists like that. I don't understand how you would possibly...
No, because you always defer to science as far as your authority, correct? Because you don't actually do research on these things? Or you appeal to the authority, rather.
Yeah, sure.
So then, if science is being pushed by norms, if the norms are incorrect, you just concede that all your views could be wrong?
Yeah, I guess relative to the society, yeah, sure, they could be.
Okay, that's fine. Okay.
Yeah, all of science is value driven. People that don't think it is, I just haven't thought enough on it.
Okay, I agree with that.
Cool.
Yo, can I ask a question?
Ask away, my dude. That's why we're at Ask Me Anything. Hit us up.
All right. So I kind of like got into politics from watching your stream, and
big mistake, but okay.
Yeah, and the biggest thing that's like so bizarre to me is that like all the candidates who are elected, they all like have millions of dollars, and people who don't have money generally aren't elected. Like, I think this is a big problem. Like, that's not democracy in my eyes, right? It's like an oligarchy. Like, what the hell can I do about it, right? I'm like a 18-year-old college student. Like, what is there to be done?
Move countries. I don't know. I mean, vote. That's popular amongst a lot of people. I'm trying to do that next season.
But like, what if there aren't any candidates that support the things I support, you know, and aren't taking money? What if they're all taking money? Like,
You
what
just
the hell
have
do I vote for the person that's going to get 3 votes? Like, what do I?
You just have to pick.
If you go to like a university, like you're literally in the best place to be politically active, right? Like support, I don't know, social democrats or people that are, you know, in league to change like lobbying laws or something like that. Go, you know, volunteer for a campaign.
Yeah, just pick
Try
the
to
people
find
that
it,
best match your values. I mean, that's all you can do, right?
Okay.
That's all
Practice
you
at the
can-
gun range.
Yeah, the lesser of whatever evil memes.
All right, thanks.
No problem, buddy.
Alex, you had a question?
Oh, whoops, sorry. A big thing for me is like generating actual change in the way that people come to their political beliefs, and I see that the biggest place for that is affected is in high school. So I was wondering if you thought about like changing high school curriculum or anything like that, and if so, what do you think your like top 3 and bottom 3 in terms of most important and least important things that are currently in high school curriculum or should be in high school curriculum would be?
I don't know how you would do it, but teaching some form of critical thinking seems like it would be really fucking important. But realistically, it would be impossible to pass this through because any form of critical thinking that's being taught would be opposed by conservatives because they would see it as being partisan, because anybody that exercises critical thinking is probably not going to be a conservative in the United States. So I don't know how you would like pass any of this kind of stuff, like realistically or pragmatically.
What kind of critical thinking do you think should be taught in schools?
Sure. So, being able to evaluate like the trustworthiness of something, or being able to evaluate like the validity of something. So, for instance, what I said earlier. Let's say, for instance, somebody believes in a certain conspiracy theory, and this conspiracy theory grants a large amount of power to a certain system or a certain structure. Well, if this is true, then why is it that this structure is still struggling to maintain power today? If you can't produce consistent answers to that, or if you have to invent new technologies to produce answers to this, then you probably don't have a very rigorous internal thought process for which to evaluate ideas. I think that a lot of people lack the ability to rigorously critique things that they think. A lot of people can't be persuaded out of their positions. If you ask a lot of people, for instance, if I ask my mom, what would it take you to convince you that you're wrong about some idea? A lot of people can't produce answers to these types of questions, which should be very fucking scary. You know, I don't know, just like basic, I don't want to say like scientific method, because that sounds kind of scientism-esque. But like, yeah, I mean, like you should have like a pretty rigorous thought process, a way by which you can evaluate ideas and then figure out if they are good, like if they're valid ideas, if they comport with reality, if they match your value system. Yeah, I think that teaching that type of thing would be really important. I don't know if you can teach it or how you would teach it or what that would look like.
It seems very abstract. Like it's very hard to like develop a curriculum that actually does that, right?
Yeah, I mean, it would be hard, but I mean, I would hope it'd be possible. I don't know how you would do it.
I actually had this class. I went to a private school. No,
Who's
it was
talking
done
right
in a
now?
really cool.
Is that Stanley?
Microphone?
Wait, hello?
Micro, you're cutting out.
You're lagging out.
Super roboty. Yeah, I don't want to sound too memey, but like a philosophy class, I feel like would help with a lot of this type of stuff. I think philosophy should be mandatory teaching. Being able to analyze like assumed parts of your life is very, very, very important. Yeah.
Sorry, can you hear me better?
Yep.
I actually had a course like this. I went to a private high school, and it was essentially structured like a. I remember the first assignment was the teacher had a website that was malepregnancy.com of like a claim that like an embryo had been placed inside of a man, and like had been made him able to, you know, have a child, and like there was like videos, and like it was basically all manufactured to look as authentic as possible. The assignments were like, go home, like find the logical inconsistencies in this, like do your research as far as like where this information is coming from, and basically write up like why this is either like a valid news article or not. And like that was basically the entire curriculum, was being able to debunk, you know, like as claims of whether it's science or media or anything else like that. So I think that would be a good way to go about doing it.
Yeah, that'd be cool. When I was in private school, one sec. Wow, thanks, Wobby Woo. When I was in private school, the way that they told us to evaluate sources was that if it came from a .com, it was not trustworthy. If it came from a .net, it was always fake. And if it came from a .org, it was always true. That was my media savvy class in fucking high school. Holy shit.
That's what a lot of it was back then, right? Like I graduated high school in 2008, and that class was initially like a how to use the internet class, not like a critical thinking skills class. But this is when people were still like actually cared or were skeptical about You know,
Is there anything,
absorb
Destiny, you
enough
think high school
information.
curriculum could just do without completely, or like subjects that aren't that important to learn or teach that are currently being taught?
Fuck, dude, I don't know. That would be really hard to make that decision of what gets removed. I'm not sure. I'd have to go back and look at all my classes. Sorry, what? Somebody was saying something?
No, it's fine. I was going to say, isn't English class and history class, like, they're sort of designed to sort of let you lay out your thoughts and try to critically argue a point related to, like, literature or, you know, trying to describe some sort of historical event.
If you have a good teacher, but not necessarily.
But that depends on, even if we had just, like, a critical, like, thinking class, like, it would still depend on the teacher.
Well, I mean, critical thinking would be geared towards critical thinking. You don't necessarily need critical thinking for like history or English. I'm not trying to demean those, but I mean.
What would this critical thinking class look like? I mean,
I don't know. I like I'm a big fan of philosophy because philosophy allows you to analyze the world in ways that you wouldn't normally. And it's something that every single person practices, whether they're aware of it or not. So, like, questions, for instance, like here's a question that I don't think most people could produce an answer to. Why is it wrong to murder someone, right? Or rather, like, what does it mean to be male or female? And how much of this is biologically constructed versus socially constructed? These are questions that I don't think a lot of people have spent any amount of time thinking about. And giving people the tools necessary to analyze these things, I think would produce better people that are capable of taking a critical look at things that they've assumed to be true for their entire lives. I think would be positive.
Probably people who are religious wouldn't like that there was a curriculum teaching that there were other ways of analyzing what was fundamentally true about the world.
Yeah, absolutely. Religious people would fucking hate curriculums like this, yeah.
I don't think
It seems like some kind of class that analyzes like behavioral decisions would also be a really like economics or psychology.
Yeah,
it doesn't
maybe.
necessarily teach critical thinking, but just opens up skepticism to the idea that human behavior is subject to influence. Which
Yeah.
just seems like something a lot of people can't grasp.
Yeah, my most important class in school was a high school psych, was AP Psych, honestly. And it was a pretty easy class, but I mean, like, learning about all the different human biases that exist was fucking eye-opening to me. That was insane. Maybe stuff like that would be valuable as well, I don't know.
I don't think it's exactly difficult to explain why it's wrong to murder somebody.
Really? Do you want to try? Why is it wrong to murder someone?
Sure, it's wrong to murder somebody. Like, death has never been about the person dying. Death has been like a wave of like sadness for all the people that were like afflicted by the person. You're depriving an entire community that knew this person of being able to ever see them again, right?
Sure, but why should we value what some people find to be sad or happy?
Because that's what our society is based on.
So if our society was based on raping and murdering people, would it all of a sudden become a virtuous thing to do?
I'm sorry, say it again? I didn't hear.
So your answer to why we should value other people's happiness is because, well, we already do it in society. What if somebody would use an argument in the 1800s about why slavery should be a thing? Because it's what we already use. We already do that in society.
I mean, during the action of where it was a societal base, I don't think I could disagree with that sentiment.
So then you would argue from your point of view that slavery was a virtuous thing to have occurred back when it did occur because society at the time deemed it virtuous?
No, I just don't think that in the scenario where it was a societal norm, I don't think I could disagree with it.
Huh. Okay.
Destiny, what are your objections to utilitarianism?
I don't know. I think I am a consequentialist at this point, so I don't know if I have objections.
Brothers.
Yeah.
I have one.
What?
Is ought.
I don't think utilitarianism or deontology, either one of those claim to bridge those gaps, no?
No, the biggest objection in
Oh, fuck, it's
literature
Rem.
to-
Oh, go for it.
Well, the biggest objection to consequentialism is the is-ought gap because, you know, we're trying to say that well-being is good, and then you get into that naturalistic fallacy of, okay, but what makes well-being good in and of itself, and how do you begin to justify that? And
Well, but the
if you're
same
trying to-
thing would be held in respect to deontology, wouldn't it?
No.
If
no,
I
'cause
argue
again-
that a certain action is virtuous or not, I would be saying, well, what do you mean virtuous, right? And are we at the
Nothing,
same
tiny
type
one.
of question?
No, because it's not a naturalistic principle. Like the law of universalization stems directly from pure reason, according to Kant. So it's not an actual, it doesn't stem from something found in the world. Rather, it's governed by sort of what is necessary. It's all very.
Why couldn't you apply that same universalization principle to utilitarianism if you can apply it to, or consequentialism if you can apply it to deontology?
Well, the universalization principle is deontology. So I don't know what you mean by apply that to consequentialism.
So, like, let's say that okay, hold on. So you're saying that for deontology, you're saying that there are certain actions that in and of themselves are not virtuous because of this universalization principle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Could I not use any type of universalization principle to argue that there are outcomes that are virtuous and then apply that to consequentialism, or why wouldn't I be able to do that?
But then it's not consequentialism. It's because if you're using universalization as your like sort of core axiom there, really what's mattering there is then the intention rather than the consequences.
Well, if you do this, can't you kind of loop deontology into consequentialism or consequentialism into deontology?
Well, I mean, there's so you have the two types of consequentialism, or the two typical types. You have act and rule utilitarianism. Yeah. And one of the big criticisms of rule consequentialism is that it's really just deontology.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's I think what I am, but I don't know. I don't care. I understand what you're saying. That yeah. Sure. Okay.
Normative ethics is boring.
Yeah, fuck all that fucking noise.
Nathan, you look like you're trying to find something to do on stream. Have you tried the Darwin Project?
No. Okay. What's the next question?
I'm waiting on a couple people.
I've got a question about electoralism and direct action.
About what?
Yeah, so I'm not sure if I'm using this word correctly, but there's a word out there for instead of like pushing for a position, and is like to get people to be more passive citizens and just say, oh, just vote for people who believe what you believe. Which is very
philosophy
different from like more active
Nafta.
citizens where you like go out and protest and like demand that people do X, Y, Z to get them to change.
Wait, so the difference between like actively protesting for something versus just being like, oh, fuck it, or
just vote it. Yeah, well, because in my view, the way a lot of major change in the government works isn't by just voting, and it's by protesting or demanding that your legislatures pass different types of laws.
Sure.
Which is much different. So like to give a concrete example, I take like a single payer healthcare in this country, because right now single payer healthcare polls at like 50% or 60%, somewhere in there.
Yeah,
which
polls
is like
good with
high.
Republicans and Democrats. Yeah.
Yeah, but how many senators actually believe in Medicare for all on any level? I don't know, maybe 15 or so. Yeah, so the idea that like I want Medicare for all, therefore I'll just vote for someone who believes in that is kind of a shitty thing to say, because often there's no option, Democrat or Republican, and like the only realistic way you can get to it is by advocating for it so heavily that basically legislators like have to push for it.
Okay.
So I was wondering
so what is you asking? Yeah.
So I was wondering if you have an opinion on like how effective voting alone is, or how effective direct action is, like compared to each other, because they're not opposites, but they're often things where people only think about doing one or the other instead of both or some mixture of the two.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not anywhere near well versed enough in history to know the answer to this. I'm sure somebody more well versed could answer it, but like it would come down to like what's more effective at getting particular messages, like. What produces better results in regards to a particular message. So if you're in favor of some action and then somebody does it using peaceful protesting or violent protesting or whatever, right, you just have to look at that. But I don't have the prerequisite background historically to know.
Okay, well, I guess as a follow-up, kind of like a natural extension of that would be, don't you think it's kind of shitty to tell an 18-year-old kid in college that he should just vote for people who believe in what he believes? Because chances that he believes in something that anyone on the voting ticket believes is pretty low. But if you're 18, like you do have the chance to go out and protest quite a lot or be a lot more politically active.
Wait, why is this a dilemma? Why can't you just do both?
Well, it's not about doing both. I mean, mostly what I'm trying to say is that it's like some of it comes down to the advice that you give. So like if you just tell someone like, oh, just vote, like I think that's not exactly what you want to tell someone who's 18 and who wants to be politically active.
Sure, probably not. Yeah, I can agree with that.
Okay.
All right, who else had a question? I just dragged somebody in here.
I think
Chiva's
you
right
dragged
foot?
me in.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've discussed stuff briefly in the past. I have a lot of respect for Destiny. It seems like this long form debate stuff that he does is just exactly what our culture needs in terms of getting out of this soundbite stuff. But all right, so I'll go with the is-ought distinction is equally an is-will-be distinction, in that you can't draw a will-be statement out of an is statement in the same way that you cannot draw an ought statement out of an is statement. I like Destiny's thoughts on that.
What do you mean by will be?
That, the essential problem of induction, that we have to, at some point, we have no reason to believe that causality is a thing, and that defeats the is will be distinction. That's what we have no reason to believe that fundamentally that the universe is going to continue in a causal way.
Yeah, I understand these two concepts. I guess I just don't see how they're tied together.
It's complicated to explain, and it would practically be a lecture on my part. But and I don't want to interrupt
I mean,
more
I feel like
AMA.
I understand induction fairly well, and I feel like I understand the inability to justify it pretty well, and then I feel like I understand the is-ought gap pretty well. I just don't understand how they necessarily are similar to one another.
Okay. If I can talk for a couple minutes,
and I don't, like I said, go for it. If I might stop you just if I don't understand something. Okay.
All right. So I've gone through this before. I think there are probably people here who've heard this in your Discord. Is-ought distinction, or actually, problem of induction is an actual problem. We have to solve this by making an assumption at some point, and the way we do that in science contemporarily is with the principle of indifference, particularly among finite alternatives, so that if we can, through a priori reasoning, eliminate things down to a certain set of finite possibilities, and then we don't have any empirical observation as to, or a priori reason as to believing why any of those individual possibilities is more likely, we assume equal probability across those, and that is how we ultimately solve our problem of induction, where we're chasing down a chain of empirical reasoning. Well, we believe this because because it's caused by this, or because of this prior reason, and that's justified by this prior reason or this prior cause, and so forth and so on, infinite chain. But we get down to principle of indifference is where we start from, and then we start making empirical observations to determine which of these things is more likely, and so forth. And this is objective Bayesianism.
Okay.
And you can't
real quick, just to make sure that I'm following, and then for anybody else that's not. So essentially, what you're saying is, there are certain things like induction. So certain like basic kind of laws of things. So like, let's say something like the law of non-contradiction or the law of identity or the law of excluded middle, right? That these are things that we can't prove in any way, that this is kind of a problem. So we kind of just a priori reason these, and then we make empirical observations. All of the observations seem to conform to the a priori reasoning. So we, in a kind of circular way, we just kind of like justify it and take it as is, right?
I don't know if I followed all. I'm really more simply just like, you have a die, it has 6 sides.
Yeah.
So you start rolling it, you assume that all the sides have equal probability initially, and then you build off of that based on your observations that, okay, well, this seems like the 6 is coming up a lot, so it probably has a higher chance of the 6 coming up on this particular die.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, all right.
Or you encounter a coin in the wilderness, and is it a fair coin that comes up heads and tails 50% of the time, or maybe one side is, a little bit more biased? We solve this problem in science with the principle of indifference at the base, and then we start making empirical observations with our science and building off of that. But that's how we get around the problem of induction. We assume things like causality happens. We assume things like the principle of indifference at the basis of empirical observations. That's what science does. And so, to clarify, what I hope to do is I'm going to show that once we have that we believe an external reality, an external knowable reality, like causality and such, exists, once we have that, and that we want stuff in this external external knowable reality. In other words, we have some kind of goal in existence. Then we must in some way have a moral behavior. That's eventually where this goes. All right, so there's a fundamental linking of these ideas, and I think that, you know, I know you've talked to like Darth, and he has the transcendental argument. That's like that's half of it. I'm going to give you the other half, and I don't think that people. This might have been something that may have existed at one time, but it might have been lost. I don't know. Anyway, we'll talk.
Can I real quick? Can I just like take a guess here, and then you can tell me if I'm far off base? We have some way of interpreting an external reality. We have some set of desires that we have for this external reality. In order to move towards any of those desires, we must necessarily make a value statement. Is that kind of where we're headed?
No, and then not the Sam Harris thing either. No.
Okay, I don't think that was necessarily Sam Harris, but okay, go for it.
All right. Well, yeah, I mean like the whole idea of, okay, well, we have a moral landscape and there are peaks and valleys, and that's okay. I've heard that stuff. I don't really find it it goes in the place that it needs to go. I mean, there's something to this, I think. Anyway, all right. So we have problem of induction. Problem of induction establishes that there's an area of fundamental uncertainty where we have to make an assumption. We cannot have access to any empirical reasoning in this area of fundamental uncertainty. You know, we chase our reasoning back, and we get to this point, we make an assumption.
Or a priori assumptions, right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Or really an area of fundamental empirical uncertainty where we can't make empirical statements. We have like a horizon, in essence.
Yeah, these are
that must always exist.
Yeah, I'm just trying to understand so that we're on the same page. These are necessarily a priori assumptions, right? So, for instance, like the law of, say, like non-contradiction, the idea that something can't be and not be at the same time, or the law of an excluded middle, that an object can't have a property and both not have a property at the same time. These are a priori assumptions that can't be proven and don't necessarily have to be known by acquaintance. These are just things that we kind of know intrinsically that are like,
right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, well, not even that we know them. We assume them so that we can do things like use our memories.
Well, no, that we can know them without experience. It's a really important part of an a priori assumption, I thought. No.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm a little bit confused with what you're calling an a priori assumption. I'm saying that I can prove with deductive reasoning that there is this area of uncertainty beyond empirical reasoning. And we get around this problem of induction, which is exactly what that is, by making the assumption that causality is a thing, for example, or by making the assumption that the principle of indifference at the bottom, and then we have empirical observations that through causation are going to be telling us stuff about the future.
Okay, sure. Just, yeah, keep going. We'll see where we go with this.
All right. So the idea is that, yeah, we have this area of implicit uncertainty where we have no access to empirical reasoning, but we still have a priori reasoning. And the question is, in the area of implicit uncertainty, in other words, the area beyond our empirical horizon in some way, how do we treat other minds? If I have to make a side discussion on what exactly mind is defined as, I can do that, but I'm not sure. It's pretty
we'll assume that everyone else has a mind like our own, and yeah, go for it.
All right. But even actually, all right, let me make a point. Minds are a combination of intentions and a model of the world. The intentions are essentially sensory states that are preferred, and your model of the world tells you which sensory states attain for various actions. Like if I choose action A, sensory state A attains. If I choose action B, sensory state B attains. And then I go back to my intention area and I say, well, do I prefer state A or do I prefer state B? If I prefer state A, then I do action A. That's a mind.
Sure.
All right. So very broad, expansive definition here. And so we want to say that in the area of uncertainty, we should fulfill the intentions of other minds. That the moral statement will be, in the area of uncertainty, we fulfill the intentions of other minds, but if something is knowably detrimental to our continued survival, in other words, empirically knowable that it's detrimental to our continued survival, then we have no obligations around that morally. In other words, if we don't have to not do something that is knowably better for us, or we don't have to do things that are knowably suicidal. There we go. That's a better statement.
Okay.
All right. So in the area of fundamental uncertainty, when we encounter another mind, there are essentially two paths that are logically internally consistent. We get around this problem of like the Pascal's wager, where we have potentially an infinite number of gods thing. Here we only have two because we turn them into self-referential things. So we can kill other minds, so that in the future they don't kill us. All right, and that is logically internally consistent, because if other minds are behaving this way, then everybody's doing everything correctly and everything is consistent with each other. On the other side, we can help other minds to exist so that in the future they will help us to exist. And this also is internally logically consistent. Very technical point, there is a third middle option, which is an edge case. If you know what an edge case is, you'll know why it's unimportant, but I'll leave that to the side unless you really want to talk about it.
No, that's okay. Go for it.
All right. So the two internally logically consistent paths, I'll just colloquially call these good and evil, just because it makes a lot of sense, I think. But I don't want to make too strong of a statement as these are metaphysical good and metaphysical evil here. But all right, so the evil path, though, and the good path, when we decide between the two of them, we're deciding on what the nature of the rest of the universe is like in terms of its minds. If most of the minds are going to be evil back towards us, then we don't want to be good to them, because then we'll help them to exist long enough so they'll kill us in the future. Similarly, if most of the minds out there are good, we don't want to kill them, because then we'll be killing them before they can help us to exist later on down the line, as they would because they're good. So we're in this area where we have this symmetry, in essence, between good and evil. And normally we solve this with the principle of indifference, and we assume like kind of an equal probability for either of these cases. But I want to make an a priori argument, perhaps, that maybe we can tip things in favor of goodness. All right, and so the a priori argument that tips things in favor of goodness is if we consider a third party that comes in and we want to show that goodness as a trait in and of itself has a beneficial survival advantage. So therefore, there might be more good things in the universe than there are evil things. That's what we want to show. So a third party comes in. He has to decide between the lives of a good twin and an evil twin, who are identical in all traits except for how they behave in this area of uncertainty, one of which behaves good, one of which behaves evil. In other words, kills other things so that he doesn't get killed. The other one, the good one, helps other things so that he gets helped. So the third party, when making this decision, will always prefer the good twin, even if the third party himself is evil. You know, you can make an argument that, well, what if the evil third party wants the good twin to do bad things for him? Well, the good twin, because if he is under threat from the third party, you know, back in that empirical knowable area, has no obligations any longer. He will do what the third party wants if the third party is able to hold something over him, just as the evil twin would. The only difference really is when the third party has no incentives over the twins, how do the twins behave towards the third party? And in that case, the good twin is going to be helping, the evil twin is going to be hurting. Right, so the third party always prefers the good twin. If the third party is evil, he prefers to take advantage of the good twin and not get stabbed in the back by the evil twin. If the third party himself is good, I think it's even stronger of an argument that he prefers the good twin. Now here's the key, and this is the interesting part of this argument. So, well, let me actually finish the whole thing in that saying that now we have a survival advantage for good, so now we can think that maybe good has a better chance of surviving in the universe, so we have more people being good, so that means that we should be good, which means that other minds that go through the same reasoning we went through would also be good, which reinforces our own reasoning, and yeah, good is the answer. All right, so good is the answer if we go through this, but it relies on knowability. The third party has to have access to the objective truth of who is the good twin and who is the evil twin, at least probabilistically, in order to get the advantage. And so it relies fundamentally on having a knowable causal world out there to know about. And that's what gets you to the two objective, well, what I would call objective morality. And furthermore, it's unique because we have to say that good itself cannot be suicidal back in the area of empirical certainty. Because if good is suicidal in some way back there, then once we get up to the area of empirical uncertainty, good has something tipping against it, and we don't have that initial symmetry. And even though the third-party argument might tip back, we can't make a determination as to whether that tipping back is enough. But when we have the symmetry, that little tip is enough to establish it. Anyway, so that's the argument, and that's how the connection between objective reality and what I would call objective morality.
Okay, so here's kind of my problem, I guess. What I heard was a ton of descriptive statements that ultimately culminated in the idea that a third party that could divine perfect information from a good and an evil person would be capable of evaluating if they preferred a good or evil person. But those are all descriptive statements, and say, you know, even a bad person would prefer the good person, a good person would prefer the good person. These are descriptive statements. I still don't see how we ever get to any normative statements of that person ought value or we ought value some property.
Oh, all right, yeah. So this argument, all right. So I thought this might come down here. So what I say to this is that any imperative system, something that's giving you commands, is actually setting up essentially possibilities in the same way that the laws of physics tell you you can't jump off a building and fly. A ruler says to you, you cannot disobey the law and face a not increased risk of prosecution and punishment. All right, so that's the setup, that he's excluding the possibility of breaking law and not facing an increased risk. He's also excluding the possibility of not breaking law and also facing increased risk. All right, so that's the statement of any imperative system. If a ruler says you should obey the law, he's really saying obey the law and don't face possibility of punishment, or don't obey the law, face possibility of punishment. Obey the law, face possibility of punishment outside of reality. Disobey the law, not face possibility of punishment, also outside of reality. In the same way that jumping off a building and flying is outside of reality.
That is the stupidest shit I've ever heard.
Whoa, can we be nice?
Okay, that's your boy Rem.
All right. Okay, let's see if we can do this in less than like 6 minutes, okay? What's your objection, Rem?
It's just it's a moral anti-realist position. You're trying to frame evaluative normative systems in a descriptive manner.
Yeah, that's kind of what that seems to be like what my problem is. I hear like a ton of descriptive statements, and it seems, I think, was it Hume the guy that did this, where like you have all these descriptive statements, and then all of a sudden we were just magically speaking normatively, but I don't see where that came from.
Well, right. So let me add also, what about the idea that, you know, if I am obeying some religion because I want to go to heaven, isn't that an egoistic attempt to manipulate the universe for pleasure, in essence?
Yeah, those are all descriptive statements, but yeah.
So that's the whole thing, is God says, you know, don't be a sinner and go to heaven, or do be a sinner and go to hell, and you're free to choose between these two options. And I'm not going to say, it's almost as if he says, you actually I'll point out that in the Bible, it literally, in Deuteronomy, in the Old Testament, before it gets to the idea of hell and heaven, but it literally says, I have given you a choice. I've set before you a choice. This is an open choice.
Wait, are you religious?
I consider myself Jewish. But
did we really wait 8 minutes for this? Come on.
For what? Whoa, Stanley, can we be nice? Damn, why are you so fucking mean?
We have a history with this guy.
We have a history.
He does this all the time.
Okay, well, like, here's my problem.
Because somebody asked.
Okay, I got it. Okay. Fucking, I feel like when I hear these discussions, I haven't actually read Hume's like write up on this, but I feel like I understand it more and more without ever even having read it, because I've had people reference it. It feels like when I get into these discussions, what it sounds like is like, here's a descriptive statement, here's another one, there's another one, here's one, and then there's one, and it's like, okay, and like, yeah, so there's your like normative thing, and it's like, where? So like, it sounds like you're saying that like, well, let's say that I put a man in a hallway. Now on one side, there are a bunch of thorns and spikes and hot lava and shit. And then the other side, there are 42 virgins waiting in eternal bliss. Well, that guy is always going to prefer to walk to the right than the left. So that path is good. And it's like, well, wait, hold on. Like we made a lot of descriptive statements and then.
Not necessarily.
What do you mean not necessarily?
Maybe he's suicidal.
Well,
maybe
yeah,
he's
but
got
you
horrible
said that,
cancer
yeah,
and
but
like
you
his
said,
life is pain.
Yeah, well, hold on. Well, firstly, you're the one that brought up earlier edge cases that don't need to be considered because they clearly miss the point of the hypothetical. And then secondly, you said that suicidal people wouldn't be propagated throughout the universe, right? So you addressed both of these things that you just brought up as an objection.
Well, yes, that's kind of how it all works.
Yeah.
Is that if you are not moral, you get pushed out of existence. If you want to live, you have to be moral.
But what I'm saying is that
kind of boils down to.
All you've really done is you kind of like linguistically redefined preference as morality, and now you've said that now it's a normative because I've linguistically redefined it. Like if we were to say that morality, what we ought to do, is just what our preferences are, well, we're not really talking about the same moral concept as like, here is some imperative for some way that people ought to act independent of any type of descriptive claim, right?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, like, what about physics? It's like, physics they seem to be. You can not believe physics. You can choose not to believe.
Well, but we're not. This isn't a question of belief or not. Physics never makes a claim of what we ought to do. Like, physics never says the rock ought to fall to the ground. It just makes a descriptive claim that it does. I can use physics to describe a highly complicated system, but at no point in that description using physics will I ever arrive at a statement where physics says the rock ought to roll down the hill, the tree ought to fall over. Those aren't statements that physics makes.
Well, yeah, I mean, okay. I mean, we can completely destroy. Like, all right, what does make an ought statement? Let me ask.
Well,
like, what kind of logical system would make an ought statement?
Nothing that bridges it from an is. That's.
Well, fair enough, but I mean, in general, like.
Well, I don't believe there are ought statements because I'm a moral anti-realist.
God damn it.
Shh, chill, Ram. But like, as somebody that doesn't believe that moral fact is found in the physical world, I don't believe that you can make ought statements. I don't think.
Well, not even from the physical world. Like, what would this look like? This object of an ought statement. Like, what would that mean? What would it mean that I ought to do something?
I mean, you'd have to go
to my benefit in some way.
I don't know. Kant says that you can arrive at categorical imperatives through pure fucking reason and shit. I don't know how people construct their moral systems. I mean, there are tons of different ways to do it. I personally don't believe in any of them, and I haven't investigated the people that do. I mean, I'm sure Rem could give a breakdown on Kantian imperatives and whatnot, but there are people that give you moral statements. But I don't think anybody has ever claimed to be able to get a moral statement from an is. You need something more than that. You have to. To quote, was it Peter Carroll or whatever? You have to bootstrap it with something. You have to start from some foundation. You can't just start with a bunch of descriptive statements and then all of a sudden arrive at a normative one. Normative ones need to come from nothing, from either an a priori assumption or some sort of axiom.
For the record, Destiny, I think you are a moral realist. You just don't think that we can actually figure out what statements are true or not.
Sure, possibly. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. So wait. Okay, yeah. Wait,
like everything you just said is equally applicable to physical statements as well. Like I say, the is ought distinction is equally an is will be distinction. We have all of our empirical statements are resting on some kind of assumption at the base as well.
Well, yeah, of course they are, and I don't deny that. I mean, everything is resting on ultimately some assumptions that are ultimately unjustified, like induction. But the difference is that those things don't claim to make ought to statements. So like physics doesn't claim to make an ought to, or biology or any of these things don't claim to make statements of we ought to do this thing or this ought to do this thing. They're just descriptive statements.
Well, all right. If ought is a term that is completely devoid of meaning, like I guess I can't argue that things ought to do anything. I guess. I mean, if ought is just not a word in essence.
Well, what do you think ought? What does ought mean to you?
That it's to my benefit. I ought to do things. Which are to my benefit.
No. I thought, or I could be wrong on this, but my assumption was that ought statements or normative statements are statements that can describe virtuosity. That like if you ought to do something, you ought to do it because it would be virtuous to do so. Or that morality is a study of what is virtuous, what makes an action virtuous or non-virtuous, or a person virtuous or non-virtuous. So when we say you ought to do something, what we're saying is that this is a virtuous action. What you ought not to do something is this would be a non-virtuous action. That's my understanding of what an ought statement is. Not just like, if you do this, this will happen. Those are just descriptive statements.
They talk about eudaimonia. If you want to talk about like Greek philosophy as
Aristotelian. I love this. Let's keep going.
What? Okay.
So
I don't know.
Eudaimonia, which is pardon my pronunciation. But yeah, I is supposed to be what you're supposed to be getting when you're behaving virtuously. And all right, so to go back to our model of the mind, the intentions on one part, the model of the world on the other part, the intentions, I think, are pretty equivalent to the idea of ancient ideas of spirit. Right? The spirit is an intention in essence, that you want to do something, and that wanting is what a spirit is. And so eudaimonia is the idea of pruning down your intentions from the ones that are not possible to fulfill, the ones that are ineffectively, that you cannot be effective.
I feel like we're heading towards a ton of descriptive statements, and we're just going to magically get to a normative statement. That's what it feels like again. It sounds like you're going down a path where it's like, well, we can do some things that will fulfill our desires, we can do some things that won't, and obviously we prefer these things. But then you're going to say, therefore, we ought to do those things. But that...
well, I'm just taking. You suggested ancient Greek concepts of virtue.
Well, no, wait. I'm not.
As a way to.
no, when I say virtue, whatever, I'm talking about what I believe. I could be wrong, but what I believe philosophers commonly refer to as like morality. Like morality is the study of what is virtuous or actions that make you virtuous. I think that's what morality is.
Exactly. So
right?
I'm bringing up exactly like eudaimonia is the purpose, is the end goal, according to the ancient Greeks,
It's
of
a
being
semantic
virtuous.
difference here. He doesn't know when Destiny says virtuous, he virtuous good. He's equating everything. He's not talking about Aristotelian virtue ethics.
Well, if we're trying to nail down the meaning of a term, the usage of that term throughout history, I think, is appropriately pertinent to the conversation.
Hold on,
that's not what he means.
They're gonna argue semantics. It's ridiculous. That's silly, man. That's silly.
Well, I mean, we're arguing the semantic of.
I can use a word besides virtuous. Maybe I should just say what is good or what is moral, if that makes it. Yeah, because I'm not talking about any. Yeah.
What is good is, you know, whatever the things that I like are good.
Okay, wait, but that statement, that was a normative statement, right? That wasn't a descriptive statement. How do you decide that things that you like are good?
They're beneficial to me. That's my definition.
That's another descriptive statement. This is what I'm saying. You line up like 20 descriptive statements, and then at the end,
this is what I was hinting at before with like with descriptive egoism, right? You like descriptive.
That's something. But I don't claim to make ought statements. That's the difference, right? I understand that I never make an ought statement. I don't think I can, or I don't believe I have the capability of doing so. But what I'm just trying to understand is how you don't see that you're naming 10. So like when I ask you, for instance, what is good, you're like, oh well, things that I prefer. There are things that you prefer, but how does you preferring something make it good? That's the is to ought gap that I don't think is possible to bridge. That I don't think anybody thinks is possible to bridge.
Except Sam Harris.
Except Sam Harris, yeah.
I mean, I don't. All right, I've got to the point where you should fulfill the intentions of other minds.
Wait.
Which?
Why? No, wait. Now you can say you will. Okay, so. Oh, fine. The language here is yeah. When you say you should do something to exist, that's different than saying you should do it because it's good. Those are two very different statements.
I suppose that may be the case. And you can make that argument,
this is central to the entire. This is central to the entire.
Vacates the meaning of moralism. That you've completely now. It doesn't mean anything anymore. There isn't a thing there.
No. It sounds like you're brushing over the whole central part of the argument, which is why we're totally disconnecting. So like. I should go to the gym in order to become healthier is a lot different than I should go to the gym because I should value being healthy. Those two statements are totally different statements. They're worlds apart. One is if I want to accomplish the goal of becoming healthier, I should go to the gym. That's not a moral statement. But saying that I should value becoming healthier, therefore I should go to this gym, that is a moral statement. One is normative, one is descriptive. Those are worlds apart. Do you acknowledge the difference between those statements, or do you think they're more or less the same?
I mean, when you say you should want to be healthy, there's usually kind of a and I grant it may not be in colloquial language, but it's kind of you should want to be healthy because being healthy is beneficial to you. That's kind of like the assumption that's behind it.
I guess I totally disagree on that point. Saying that you should want to be healthy is a normative claim that can't be found through any type of descriptive.
I mean, like when people say you should be Christian, they think that it's because it will be beneficial to you.
No, I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true. In fact,
I don't know.
Well, maybe ultimately beneficial if you think going to heaven is the ultimate benefit. But
yes, exactly. That's the whole thing. Is that they promise you heaven, and so that's supposed to be the benefit.
You sound like you probably know more than me about all of this stuff because I think my level of knowledge is very, very low.
I don't think so.
Okay, but like it feels like what it feels like.
Want to claim.
Sure, what it feels like is you don't know what a normative statement is, and I'm not trying to say that like really condescendingly or meanly, but it sounds like. I don't know if it's like a linguistic trap or something, but it sounds like you think that if I say like if I want to go 60 miles per hour, I should push the gas pedal down. That like that's a moral statement. Well, because I'm saying, look, I ought to push the gas pedal down in order to accomplish a speed of 60 miles an hour. But that's not a moral statement at all. Those are just descriptive statements. The word should there doesn't function the same as it would be if you were to say you should go 60 miles an hour. Saying you should go 60 miles an hour is a normative statement. Saying that you should push the gas pedal down to go 60 miles per hour, that's a descriptive statement. So saying things like I should value the existence of other minds to maximize my own well-being, that's a descriptive statement, and I would agree with it. I think you should maximize the other minds because they tend to be more beneficial than not. Now, saying I should be compelled to, or I ought to value my own existence, and then therefore I should value other minds.
yeah,
that's a
not.
normative statement. Well, but that's the one you're making, essentially.
That's an even deeper thing. I mean, to go back, I mean, the full statement of the moral, I only used one caveat. There are 3 caveats. The full statement of the moral thing is you should fulfill the intentions of other minds unless it is knowably suicidal for yourself or unless it is necessary to violate the intentions of that mind for the existence of that mind, or that mind is known to be suicidal.
Sure. Okay.
So the 3.
Gotcha. All right, I understand. Do you have any final parting words or anything for us, or?
Yeah, I mean, if we want to move on, caveat 2 is a veganism argument, and it's about veganism and antinatalism.
No, that's okay. I don't
maybe
care.
a little bit more.
I'm good.
I hate veganism and antinatalism.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right.
I hate veganism.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. I love you, buddy. Thanks for the.
I love you.
We don't. Okay.
All right.
All right. My house burned down. So
Wait, what?
I guess we can call an end to this. Like the AMA is it's dragging at this point.
Oh. Okay. Do we have any other final pressing?
If anybody
important questions.
Hold on. I'm gonna check the original list and we'll see if there's any other ones. One of the last questions was, why don't you ever spend time in the Discord community? But I think we just answered that question.
No,
okay.
fuck. I try to sometimes, but the problem is I'm actually busy at all points in my life. It seems like I'm not, but if I'm not streaming, I'm doing something probably related to streaming.
He's in the politics Discord and yelling at people.
Or
that's you and I can be buddies. You just gotta come into DGG.
That's fine. This is if you like this a little bit structured, right? We can do this some more. I think the Discord community really enjoys it. I think it's decent content. I mean, if you enjoy it too, we can.
I love talking to Dad.
Thanks.
Yes. Ooh, woo.
What?
Talking to Daddy. Hey,
wait, hold on. What? We'll go.
Fucking sub to him and shit, so we can do this more often.
Who is the guy? Question.
Some money.
Yeah.
I've given Destiny so many.
Wait, let the guy ask his question. What?
Why do you play Path of Exile in hardcore?
Because it's fun. Because you're dumb as fuck. All right, never mind. This guy's done. Okay.
I have a question.
No, your server muted, dog.
I have a question.
What?
What is Twitch Prime?
If you have an Amazon Prime account and it's linked to your Twitch account, you can subscribe to streamers for free with it. It's an amazing thing, and you should all do it to streamers that you love and watch. Yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
I actually have a question.
Okay, you're the final one. This better be good. You're getting a fucking IP ban, a perm ban.
Yeah. I actually asked you this on stream before, but you were kind of coming off. But why do you think it is that? Well, I don't know if you still see it this way, but why do you think it is that you couldn't establish good relationships with people before?
Oh, because do you know who Mitch Jones is?
Yes.
I used to be like him. I was obsessed with this idea of being real and being true to yourself, and not not making fake friends. And if you hate people, fucking tell them, and don't make friends just for the sake of networking or any shit like that. I was obsessed with that stuff growing up, but now I realize it's dumb. It's a stupid way to mark progress, or it's a stupid way to make friends or network, and you just fuck yourself ultimately. So yeah. Okay, cool. All right, I love you all, and I value you all very much.
Wait, are you gonna end your stream right now, or are you gonna keep going for a little bit?
I don't know. I'll see what I'm doing. I'll see what Mr. Mooten is doing. Okay.
Hold on. Wait for my dono to go through.
How much was it?
$4. It didn't even show up. Fucking idiot.
No. I haven't even said that.
WTF? I can subscribe for free using Twitch Prime. Blub.
If you didn't fucking have Streamlabs, it'd take 30 goddamn minutes to try to give you my money.
Just
check. All right, I'm moving us down. Goodbye, everybody.
Wowie.
I love you.
Bye, Mr. Mooden.
Bye. Fucking hate those guys.
Can you chill? Fuck, why?
I love Twitch chat.
Why is Stanley so mean to people?
I don't know.
Stanley, you gotta be. Oh man.
You know what I've said? I said Stanley is the old Mr. Moon, dude. He is. He's literally old me. He wants to do cool things for the community, but doesn't realize that Destiny doesn't give a fuck. Yep. He's the old Mr.
I showed up today. I woke up after 3 hours of sleep to fucking come and suffer through this shit.
Yeah, you're suffering, dude. Look at him. He's at his job right now, everybody.
Oh my. Okay, wait a second.
He's at work.
Okay, I'm legitimately curious because I actually don't know now if I'm fucking getting view botted. Are you people in my chat real right now? Where the fuck are you guys even coming from?
Type 1 if you're real.
Type 2 if you're a fucking bot. Because when I look at if I look at my broadcast for today, let me see.
Maybe Stanley just view buddy so you do it more.
I mean, it looks organic, I think.
Are you looking at Twinge right now?
Yeah. Oh wait, this is last night.
Twinge is not today. It won't show it until tomorrow or when you shut off stream.
2.
I'm pretty sure.
I just don't understand where you fuckers are coming from. You were pulling 7K last night. Yeah, I just don't know where you guys are coming from now. Okay, straw poll.
They're here for me.
Where
Type
the
3 if you're here for
fuck
Mr.
are you coming from?
Put me in there.
Actually, how about this?
Add me to the straw poll.
Are you real? Yes, no. Okay, improve spam prevention. So I think that with 6,000, 7,000 viewers, I should get
Like
at least 2,000.
3 to 4.
I should I should get at least 2,000 answers on this poll pretty easily. Can you vote here if you're like a real person? I just need to see if you guys are real or if somebody's like view botting me.
I'm not real.
Post in
I'm
Twitch
here to
chat.
hear about what you think about Kavanaugh, but I guess there's an AMA, probably.
Kavanaugh? I
All
mean, the
your
guy was always
viewers.
getting. Has he been confirmed yet? I think.
Yeah,
so,
he's confirmed.
Yeah, it was always.
I think
happening.
the Republicans or the Dems were trying to vote to like redo it, but I don't know what the fuck happened with it.
No, that's not gonna happen.
It's, he replaced fucking Anthony Kennedy, right?
Yeah.
Someone who
Rip! That's
like,
a
was with
conservative
gay
quote
rights
right
and-
there.
Yeah, that's a. They got the court now, boys.
Wait, the spam protection causes a captcha. A lot of people probably won't vote because of it. Listen, solve
It's
it.
a little. You just click it
Just
and then you
solve
go.
it,
There's
you
no captcha.
fucking idiots. Vote in the goddamn poll if you're here right now. You fucking people.
You know what another way to vote is? With your Twitch Primes. Twitch Prime to Destiny right
Yeah.
now. That's how you vote.
I can't answer. I can't pass the security check.
I can if I'm a bot. Pepe hands.
They might be Trainwrecks viewers, and they're watching me now. So the people that came from Trainwrecks is listening to me have a conversation on descriptive versus normative statements.
Wow, thanks to Deleuze and Wumbo Not for the Twitch Primes to Destiny. Those are two guys who are non-bots. Add them to the poll.
The CAPTCHA is fucking garbage, or the solve doesn't work because of a cookie issue. Okay, that's cool. So I have almost over 2,500 people voting on this.
2,500. Yeah. Pretty good for you, you know. When I stream, I get 30,000, I think.
Shut the fuck up. Wait, so you guys are
On
okay? I'll try
average?
one without. Are you real? Yes. No. Okay, I won't put the CAPTCHA on it.
Well, now they have voter fatigue. I don't really want to vote right
Now
now.
they have voter fatigue. Shut
Yeah,
the fuck up.
I'm not gonna. Don't vote. I'm not voting. I'm tired of voting.
Look at how
My
well
hand
behaved my
hurts.
chat's been, even at like 7,000 viewers. See, it's
They were
possible.
tryhard spamming earlier, dude.
Were
I
they?
told them they needed to chill the fuck out.
Vote on this.
Another poll feels weird, man. Yep.
Shut the fuck
Fuck
up.
it, I'm tired. Yeah, hell yeah, brothers.
Fucking vote.
Fuck it, we're tired, dude.
Shut the fuck up.
You're not the boss of us.
I think people are from Greek. I am? Oh. When you listed yourself in Minecraft last night, the chat went to shit so fast. Whoa, why are people getting nuked? Who's
Wait, why
nuking
are
in my
we-
chat?
Somebody was doing tryhards, I guess. I didn't nuke it.
Oh my god.
Fuck, unmod Loomies. It was him, I bet.
How am I getting less
Get
votes?
him out of here.
How am I
'Cause
getting
we're
less
tired.
votes in the,
I told
in the
you.
non-captured one?
I'm not voting. We're not voting, Steve.
Fucking
I'm not. We're not your
trolls.
fucking monkeys,
So
dude.
stupid.
Okay. We're tired. Yes, I agree.
What, are you awake? Did you sleep?
Yeah, I slept
MR
out. Dude, I don't know
moving
what is up
Nathaniel.
with you. I call you, it's like 10 o'clock, and you're like dead asleep. And then you'll be like, all right, I'll be up in like 5 hours, Mr. Moon. Why do you stay up till like 3 a.m.? Go to bed.
I'm sorry, Mr. Burton.
Sleep.
I'm a dedicated real-life streamer now, okay? I'm pushing hard.
Yeah, I'm proud of you, dude.
Didn't Trex
Thank
get banned?
God.
Maybe his viewers are from there. I just need to get every streamer banned.
Oh shit, you're gonna ban all of the people on the podcast. Is Asmongold next?
Maybe.
I'm not
Guys,
voting.
Vote
No.
once more.
We're done.
Vote once
Don't
more,
vote.
guys.
We're done. Give him a reason to vote.
I thought I was gonna be about it, but then when that one guy started talking and people started leaving, I was like, oh,
Leaving?
oof,
Hell
they're-
yeah.
They're
I
real.
left.
They're real people.
I fucking dipped out, dude.
If I gained viewers doing that, then I'd know.
Then you know it's viewbots.
Yeah.
Reminder, if you're banned in the Twitch chat from League years ago, you can email unbans@destiny.gg and I'll unban you. Link me your username. I also need over Russell logs.
Do you wanna play CS:GO?
Yeah.
You sure you don't have like a friend you need to go smoke weed with, or a girlfriend you need
No,
to
I'm
ditch
good.
me for, or a fucking mom that has cancer, or a fucking school assignment you need to study for?
No, your
or a
mom's under my
test you
desk,
need to
ready to suck my
fucking-
dick. I'm good,
Some
dude.
dumb shit. I know there's
How
like
many
your
games? How many
dog
games are you
fucking
trying to play?
How
died,
can our
or
votes be real if our eyes
Listen.
aren't real?
Should I buy this
Nathaniel
ticket?
Monkers.
Cincinnati to San Francisco. Am I going to TwitchCon now?
yeah, sure if you want to. Wait, hold on.
Alright.
It's a lot. Oh god, I hate parties. I'll think about it.
You should do that though. Just like at least get it, even if you don't want to go.
Do you want to do that bounty in like 2 hours or an hour?
I don't have the key, the game key.
Oh,
they didn't send it yet. We can do it tomorrow.
Yeah, but Devin wants to do it too, so maybe all three of us should just do it together. But if we don't have the
It's
keys
all
yet, then-
single player, by the way.
That's okay. We can talk.
But
to
yeah,
each
we
other.
can.
I always vote Boomer Sippy.
Hell yeah, brother.
It's not
Why are we
ViewBots,
boomer
it's EU
sipping?
boys. Oh fuck! I didn't run
Oh,
any commercials
I hate
today.
the EU.
4 hour. You guys are about to get so many commercials. Oh, but I can't.
Send
spam
them to Yemen.
Go to Yemen.
Go to Yemen.
Okay. I should just start playing League now. That's the best way to fucking get
Take
him out.
us
That's
to
the way
Yemen.
to kill your stream, dude. Hell yeah. Oh, I'm Steve. I'm getting too big. Time to throw up some League. Are we playing CS:GO?
Just fucking load it up. Stop asking.
Dude, I saw that Assassin's Creed bounty and I fucking yoinked that shit. I was like, $60 game for free and I get paid to play it for an hour?
Wow.
Yoink. Wait. You have some analysts. They can't go to Yemen.
Shut the fuck up. What else can I do for my viewers? Now that I'm getting so many subscribers and shit, I feel like I need to do more than just the D&D thing. I'm doing the D&D thing. That's
Okay,
good.
we're doing the D&D thing. What about like a Metal Gear Solid thing where you play it like
I don't think most
one day a
people want to
week,
see
one
that.
day a week.
I don't
We
think
just-
they want to see that.
Okay, cool.
Okay,
It's
I'm gonna
not
pull
for-
it. Do you
Okay.
want to see a Metal Gear Solid playthrough?
One day a week. You don't
Don't
want to do it
vote
every single day.
if you're too cheap to sub, you fucking cucks. Yes, I
I'll
won't
vote
get
for- I
bored
will-
after one day of this. LOL.
Wait,
no,
as I'm saying,
fuck
you
Metal Gear
shouldn't
Solid.
play this
shit is
7
boring
days a
as
week. You
fuck.
should be playing this like 1 or 2 days a week.
No,
and
then you won't
like,
remember the fucking story, Mr. Wood. Just shut the fuck up.
It doesn't matter because if you play a game 7 days a week, of course people are gonna get fucking bored of it. No shit. Guys, you can vote on this one.
Gotcha.
You're okay to vote. We're less fatigued now. But if he does another one, I ain't voting on that shit.
Can you confirm if Metal Gear Solid is much of a grind as Nier is? No.
Oh, somebody was like, why don't you do more composition challenges? You could do like more of those.
Oh, can you email me to do one?
Yeah, do you want me to like email you to do it?
Just email me to do it, and then if it's in my
Okay.
inbox, I need to find a way to
Do you
email
want me to
myself.
do?
If it's in my inbox, I'll fucking do it.
Wait, you can email yourself.
Yeah, I know. I should just email myself things.
I'll email you. Don't worry about it.
Hi.
What's
Hi,
up?
Hey,
Devin.
how you doing? Sorry. I
Wait, you
was
think we're gonna
talking
do
to-
it tomorrow though? Is that cool, Devin?
Do what?
Oh, I don't know if he
Assassin's
wants to
Creed
do
thing?
the bounty shit with us. He might want to do
The
it on
thing
his
is,
own.
I don't know if I can. If Steven and you are streaming simultaneously, if I'll get, because you know how it has like the max
crossover and
viewer
shit,
thing.
Yeah.
You just
Well-
have to tell them to come over. Just say, hey, come over and watch
They're not
this
gonna
while we
do
play.
that.
Yes, they do. They do. Yes.
They do?
Yeah, they do.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
we'll have to do it
Because-
tomorrow anyway because we don't have the keys yet.
We don't have
so.
the keys.
I don't have the key either, and in addition, hang on a sec. I already bought it, so I think I might refund it on the PC because it actually runs like total booty.
Yeah, you should refund that and wait.
Okay, and wait.
Yeah. I thought about
Alright.
doing what you're doing. Because, like, if you buy it now, you're only missing out on, like, what, $70 kind of from the bounty?
Well, also
And
the
then giving away the
viewership
key,
is so
but
much
yeah.
better. I don't know why they're not setting the key right now.
They just have a shitty automated system, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
It always takes, like, 24 hours, 72 hours.
Oh, really? Okay, so so we will get a key.
Yeah.
And is it for PS4 or PC or what?
I believe it's PC.
Okay.
That's...
It runs
Wait, I think when you
bad
take
on
the
the
bounty, I think it asks you.
No,
but
it
I
didn't.
don't remember.
It didn't. Did you get Mooten? Did you get that arena bounty too?
The Magic the Gathering one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
shit's
shit together,
busted,
man.
dude. Fucking back to back
dude,
shit,
I
yeah.
love fucking
I know.
zombies. I've got like 4 in my queue.
Somebody said, wait, fuck. I missed the thing. If what you're doing now is getting more viewers, why would you want to do something else? I don't know, because I feel like I've picked up a fuck ton of subs lately. Like a lot of subs. And so I feel bad. I feel like I owe you guys something. It's not a good feeling. I never want to feel like you fucking shitters have fucking leverage over me, ever. Okay? So if I have a lot of dudes here and you guys are subbing and shit, I feel like I need to reward your behavior or some shit. Like a dog. Like you give a dog a fucking blowjob or some shit if he licks your dick. So I'm just trying to keep you guys happy by doing things that don't make me want to fucking kill myself. Alright?
Would have come over the fuck. Yeah.
Wait. Oh yeah, he's unmuted.
Yeah.
What can you say the games?
Yeah, just send you those.
Okay. Yeah. And I'll tell you mine too.
Oh, I can reward you in a negative fashion. That's right. If I just don't play League of Legends, that can be all the reward you guys need.
That's
also
true.
hi chat. I motherfucking game. All right, I had to.
Are you on, Steve?
Yeah, I'm on the haters.
I'm starting. I gotta update my channel. What about interviewing actual politicians or people affiliated with government? I don't think that's gonna happen. Get me Mitch McConnell or that Grassley guy on my stream. That would be a fun fucking interview.
Why don't I do Destiny?
Yeah.
Why don't I do? I can get you asking for things you can do for your subscribers.
No, things that aren't gonna make me want to kill myself.
Oh, what about that thing that I told you? Remember like the 90s retro like thing that I told you about? That we do it with like the yeah, I'm telling you, Steve, this would be a 10,000. This is like Tyler 1 tier if we did that. That's a good ass stream.
Where would we do it at? I would have to go.
I would come to you.
You're coming to me?
Yeah.
Oh shit. Hold on, let me mute the stream for a second.
Yeah.
Are you streaming, Miss Ritton?
No, I'm not.
Okay, hold on. Are you streaming, Devin?
I am not.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna mute my voice so they can just hear your reaction as to how great this idea is, okay?
Okay. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the headbands, yeah.
Wait, can I get in on this though? Because like you know my
I'm
background.
telling you, that's a yeah. That's like a 10 out of 10.
It is.
That's a 10 out of 10 stream,
It is.
dude.
It is. My you got to get my, but you know my background, right?
Yeah.
For that kind of thing, holy shit, I want to do that. That would be 10 out of 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
That would be
10 out of 10. Yeah,
That's
that
a
would be
big meme.
like a fucking primo.
That's a
primo
primo
memo.
That's the top memes. That would be the highest level that a meme can go. Even
Well, we
further
could do
beyond.
it at TwitchCon. Like we could do it there.
Oh,
'cause
yeah.
We're all meeting there, and it's like.
We would just have to set up somewhere, but maybe. But that's too soon, okay? Can you invite
Wait,
me to
why?
the fucking game? Because I'm too lazy to put that together that soon, okay? That's why.